welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst, the worst, surely not, horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by a very special returning guest. Gem Carmella is an actor, writer, podcaster, and of course, gamer. Welcome back to the show. Gem, hello.
Hello, Ben. You all right?
Hi there. How are you?
I am very good, thank you. Very excited to dive into yet another video game adaptation with you. Um,
Absolutely. I couldn't
yeah.
think of anybody else who would be the perfect fit for this. So the last film we covered was Doom.
Doom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
Which
joyful episode
joyful,
that
and
was.
without spoiling our opinions of this film, I don't think we've necessarily chosen uh a great film or a classic or anything like that. So I
What are you saying
apologize
then?
for that, for subjecting you to these films.
It's quite all right. It's quite all right. I mean, I think maybe the problem is just the idea of making films out of video games,
I thought we'd
maybe.
turned a corner though, and I know this is like 12 years old, this film, but I felt
Yeah.
like we turned a corner, and I think we have turned a corner because things
You
like
referring to Super Mario Brothers?
I'm referring which one, the animated one.
The new
Basically,
one.
that was an that was a masterpiece. Jack Black pulling out the. You ever expect Bowser to sing a song about Peach? No, it's amazing. Obviously Super Mario Brothers, but also like The Last of Us and
Oh, they're TV shows though.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
something
no,
else though.
I think there's something different going on with TV shows because of the
Yeah,
format and the longevity of investment that you have in a TV show
yeah.
and
Oh,
characters over multiple episodes, you know.
I was going to say Fallout as well, but
Oh
also a
yeah,
TV
Fallout's
show.
brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
Are we
Yeah,
just
yeah.
do we just agree that video games need a longer form thing to tell the story correctly instead of trying to jam everything into like 90 minutes or so?
I think if you're trying to tell the story of a video game, then yes. But if you're telling another story set in the world of that video game, then probably no. But no one's really done that yet. But that's kind of what Fallout did. They were like, "Oh, here's
Yeah,
the world. Let's tell a new story within that world."
yeah.
I think you could have done that as a film in a sort of like 90 to 2 hour
Hmm.
sort of narrative. But yeah, I just think that the nature of games is that they're not like even short games are just because you're so active in the process of that narrative unrolling on you that it just doesn't lend itself to like shorter stories. I don't think, but that's just my opinion. So
No, I know exactly what you mean. I think I totally agree. What's been the last good adaptation of a game though, movie wise?
I mean, there's ones I like. There's ones I like, but I think that's more for sort of nostalgia. It's like, I love like the first Mortal Kombat film. I
Yeah.
just love
Oh
it.
yeah. To be
But it's
fair,
just like, yeah.
fairly recently I watched Street Fighter, and I don't feel embarrassed to say I quite like
I
that
really,
film. There are some awful choices in it, like Blanca and various other things, and Jean-Claude Van Damme being Guile, but I don't
I
hate
mean,
it.
Kylie's in it though, I guess. So that's
Kylie's
kind
in
of
it, but not much. You know what?
no,
You think in your head, oh yeah, Kylie's in that, but she's not in it very much.
no. She's like got two scenes or something, hasn't
Yeah,
she?
something like that.
Oh gosh,
But
sorry, I'm not there.
yeah, but what is your opinion of the original Silent Hill movie?
Sort of don't remember it, which means it didn't make much of an impact on me. But I don't remember
Yeah.
thinking it was as bad as this. Sorry, spoilers. I didn't love
Oh.
this one. I don't remember thinking it was as bad as this. Like Radha Mitchell's quite good.
Yeah, yeah, she's
Like,
good.
but also I
Yeah.
don't remember thinking anything like good about it either.
Hmm.
But I don't feel like this one is just a kind of collage of batshit craziness, I'd say.
Yeah. I think the original film is probably one of the best for capturing the like at least the vibe, the look of a game. I think because it's got
Yeah.
like the same music, it's got the same like composer working on it, that kind of helps. and the visuals as
Yeah.
well. I think some of the culty stuff is a bit silly, like some of the acting and stuff. But
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is a good point actually, that the sort of visual design of the film, even in this one in parts, like it does really like put you back into the feel of the game.
yeah.
And some of those sound textures and things like the footsteps and stuff like that. That are so, especially when you go, yeah, when you're thinking of like the first game, which I've just sort of replayed
Oh
via
yeah. So
watching
you said
someone
that
play.
you've just like experienced a full playthrough of the first game as well. So
Yeah, and like one of the most evocative things about it is the sound of the footsteps. And I sort of forgot about that. It's like the
yeah.
different textures that you're walking
Yeah.
on as
What's he
Harry.
wearing? Old Harry Mason? Is he wearing like some Cuban heels or something? Because they're
Yeah, basically it is some solid walking sounds, but
tap
like I
dancing.
love how it changes like when you're on metal and when you're out in the snow and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, in the films they did manage to get that. I love the sort of the snow swept town. That was really like, oh yeah, this is very much Silent Hill. You know exactly what it is just from like one frame of it. But
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Of
Just
course we will.
it's just the storytelling, isn't it?
It's just a bloody storytelling. Come on.
Just get the storytelling right, and then you're on to a winner.
It's not hard. Come
Um,
on, for God's sake. Of course, we are getting a new Silent Hill film, Return to Silent Hill, which is directed by the director of the original movie.
mhm.
This one is directed by MJ Bassett, so I think he made a few
Yeah,
like
MJ Bassett.
films that were kind of like this sort of level. Something called Death Watch, Wilderness, Solomon Kane with James Purefoy in it, which I can tell from looking at the poster. I don't. Well, I'd say I can
I
tell.
weirdly remember that coming out and seeing posters of it and not
Yeah,
obviously not watching it, but I do love James Purefoy,
Solomon
and he
Kane.
he turns up a bit at like Fright Fest and things. I know I've seen
Yeah,
him.
James Purefoy.
Yeah, he's in a
Uh,
lot of stuff like
yeah.
kind of B movie
Isn't
stuff, but
is he in
he's
Resident
good.
Evil? I feel like he's in
He
the.
is. I think he is in the first one with
Yeah,
yeah, he's like the love interest, isn't he, in the first?
he is. There's a couple of guys. Yeah, I think he might be the love interest because
Yeah, I
there's
think
supposed to be a
he is.
couple, aren't they? But they've been like put
Yeah,
together. They're not a real
yeah,
couple. They've like been
yeah.
put together to live in this house, and then they both got. Oh no, we've both got amnesia. Oh, we ain't got a clue what's
Yeah,
going on.
right.
And then maybe it turns out that he was behind every. I can't remember. Something like that. Um.
Mm.
Yeah. See
Yeah,
tangents.
so
Purefoy.
yeah, so yeah, I don't know, I always go off on tangents. But like in terms of Return to Silent Hill, that is slated to be very much the retelling of Silent Hill 2, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you seen? I know there was a trailer. There was like a bit of a like a first look type thing they did alongside the stuff for the games.
I probably should have watched that
I mean, there
before
wasn't
doing
much. I think
this
it was like I think the trailer was
podcast.
like 45 seconds long or something like that.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like they've gone like there's a couple of shot for shot bits from Silent Hill 2. The only thing I would say is that the main character looks like he's got a completely different wardrobe. He looks like a magician. He's got like a lovely sort of like purple silk shirt on, something else. He doesn't really look like what's his name? James
Mm.
Sutherland? Sunderland? He doesn't really look like him, but then again, that's not important, is it really? If they're gonna
No,
retell
and I
this.
think like certainly in the film we're about to talk about, like that, I think sometimes it's a bit too try hard trying to get the costume in and
Yeah.
stuff. It's like,
Yeah,
all right, we get
exactly.
it. Yeah, we get
Is that
it.
is that the same costume from Silent Hill 3?
Is that
Yeah,
exactly, yeah, is the
just picked it
exact
up at the
same
mall.
outfit.
It's
Whoops,
the one
sorry,
you
my
were looking
chair
at.
just
What happened then? You just dropped down
I was
about
trying to
4 inches.
adjust the backrest and yeah, now I'm short. I am short anyway, spoilers. There we go.
Spoilers.
That was a fun bit of
Um,
content.
we'll of course get into it. I did want to ask you what's been going on with you since you were last on the show. You're all loads of things always happen, and you're involved with obviously podcasts and obviously shows and stuff. What has been the latest thing you've
Yeah.
been working on?
So I've just developed a new comedy theatre show called The Bazaar,
Oh,
which I've sort of co-developed with another person who I know. And it's like an improvised comedy show where all the players are of Middle Eastern heritage, and
okay.
everything is made up and inspired by a guest artist who will be obviously also from Middle Eastern heritage. Like, and it can be music, dance, poetry, something that they bring in, and then we we basically spin a yarn out of it. So very much in the genre of sort of cautionary tales and morality tales and things like that.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, really, really funny. It's very, very silly. So we just had our premiere of that on Monday this week, actually. Feels
Yeah,
like ages ago already, but
because
that was Monday,
rudely
and
I
that
was
was a
like, when are we jumping on to do a podcast? And you were like, hang on a minute, hold fire. I've
just in
got
a theatre about to perform.
I've got a brand new show on the way. And I was like, you know
Yeah,
what? That's
so
fine.
that will be hopefully hitting more theatres in London town in the autumn. So watch this space. So that's called The Bazaar.
So what theatre
We're out.
what theatre were you
It
at
was
on
at
Monday?
Camden People's Theatre,
Okay.
which is a nice little
So is there a
studio
lot of like,
theatre.
did you say improv stuff? Is a lot of it?
Yeah, it's all improvised,
It's
so there's
all
no
improvised.
scripts.
Oh my God.
Yes, 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 yes.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel like genuinely terrified, or does that something that comes supernaturally to you?
No, I've done comedy for about 20 years, and improv for about 7, 8 years. So yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with it. It can always go wrong. So there is
Yeah.
always like a slight element of danger, but that's kind of what's exciting about it. And
Yeah.
the audience go on that journey with you. So like they'll give you so we get them to kind of fill out little scrolls with some suggestions based on like a specific question we're asking them. So for this iteration, we asked them for just an object from their household, and then that all gets collected in a
Oh,
basket. And then the
yeah.
first thing that we do is us like taking things out of a basket that they've given us. And so it's quite interactive in that sense. So it's great for an audience, I think, because they're very much like, is this going to go well? Are they going to be able to make this funny? Is this story going to work?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then we for the show on Monday we had a classical guitarist, a wonderfully talented guy called
Lovely.
Musa, and he plays classical guitar in a kind of flamenco style, but from that kind of Arabic tradition, so that
Mm.
kind of like crossover between like the Moorish stuff and Arabic music.
The old
Yeah,
nylon
it's like
strings.
amazing. I'm not a musician. I don't know, but probably I'm going to
Yeah,
say
yeah.
yes
Maybe.
because you are a musician, so that's probably correct.
I'm
Yes,
not a
it
classical
sounds
guitarist,
very
so
beautiful.
I'm not a classical
Sounds
guitarist, so
very
maybe I've
beautiful.
got that completely wrong.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, it
like
does
so
sound
we
amazing, yeah.
yeah we watched that and then had to like come up with a kind of story inspired by the vibes of that music, and also make it funny.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's the most recent thing I've been
huge challenge,
doing.
definitely, yeah. Yeah, and what about my turn? I've seen that you've posted a few episodes like fairly recently.
Yeah, there's one going up today, actually. We've been a bit
Is
more
there? Okay.
inconsistent with that since my brother is also a musician, Erin,
Mm.
and he's been going on tour and he's a producer as well as a music producer. So he's just been super busy. We've been slightly inconsistent with episodes, but we've been doing a lot of top tens. So there's a top
Nice.
10 which is going live later today. I don't know when you're going to publish this, but today
You
that
know
I'm
when I'm gonna
talking
pub
to you.
you know when I'm gonna publish this, Gem? Today.
Well,
It's gonna be literally like
today.
bang.
Oh, we're
Right,
both
that's
going to
it.
go out then. Yeah, lovely.
You're gonna
Yeah, I think the one that's going out today is like a top 10. Erim's opinion, top 10 RPGs. We should do another collab and get you to talk about your
Nice.
top 10 horror games.
Yeah. Oh my God, definitely. Definitely.
That'd be a
100%. A
fun one.
collab
But I've
of
enjoyed doing the
sorts.
top 10s because you kind of you go back and revisit stuff. So I like my
Mm.
big passion is puzzle games. I just
Oh,
love
nice.
puzzles. And so I did a top 10 of puzzle games recently, and it was really nice to kind of revisit stuff and like dredge through your sort of memories of the things that have like really kind of stuck with you and changed your thoughts on like how games work in that genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so have a listen if you're a
Interesting.
gamer
Yeah,
and you're
definitely.
interested.
I will of course put the links to everything we discuss in
Oh,
the show
bless
notes
you.
as well. And I guess like with Silent Hill games, like, is that something that perhaps you have always enjoyed about them? Is it that they've got like a puzzle element? I guess like most survival horror games do
Yeah.
have
Oh
like a
my
puzzle element
gosh.
to them.
Like I only really experienced the first one, and that's because I've never owned a PlayStation. But so the first game came out in 99, I believe.
Mm.
So it was very much like in those days you didn't all have a console. Like one person had a console in the friendship group, or like we
Yeah.
had a Nintendo between me and my brothers,
Yeah.
and then like my mate had a PlayStation, and
Mm.
so then like another mate had like whatever Sega was out at that time. Do you know, like, so you'd go
Yeah, yeah,
round
yeah.
and you,
I do
or
know.
like someone would have a kind of early PC, whatever. So you just go round and you never really manage to get through a whole game because you turn up and like a game would be on, but they've
Yeah.
already played 4 hours of it. But then you sit there and play 2 hours of it. And then like that's how a lot of those, especially those PlayStation games, that's how I kind of
Mhm.
absorb them. So yeah, I've got fond memories of this one, but I never owned it, so I never did like a complete playthrough that was my playthrough, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really love puzzles, to go back to your question. And so in games like this, if there ever was a puzzle, it's like, Gem, you're up.
Yeah, it's your
So
turn.
yeah, it's your turn because I can usually figure them out quite quickly. And I've
Yeah.
got a really, I know this because I play a lot of video games, but I've got really good visual memory. So if I've picked something up in
Mm.
in a room, like an item, or I've seen something, I can almost always recall it. Like sometimes to the point where I'm like, that should be a thing, but it isn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so games like this where you're like, okay, I've found a cage with a key in it.
Yeah.
Like you've got to like remember how to get that. Or like
Yeah.
in this game specifically, like just some really fun puzzles, like this sort of star sign puzzle. Like
Mm.
remember being really fun solving that for the first time. And just things like with these sort of survival horror games, like picking up an item and being like, why the fuck do I need a magnet? And then
Yeah.
finding a key that's in a drain and like, aha, I've
Yeah.
got a magnet. I can suck
Luckily, I've
the
got a
key
magnet
out.
which I picked up
Yeah.
half an hour ago. I
Yeah.
don't know why I would have picked it up, usually.
Yeah. And like the camera, like I remember that being a thing. And when I watched it again just now, recently, sorry, I was like, oh yeah, I do remember being like really stumped by why I have a camera and not being sure
Mm.
when to use that. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know
of
if you
course.
remember the first game, but it's like you
Yeah.
take a picture of a picture which flashes, like the flash reveals the light, and the clue on the picture
Yeah,
is
that's
about
right.
like
That's right.
needing the light, and then
It's
you get the
genius,
arrows
really.
and
Yeah,
da, 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 da.
definitely.
Yeah,
It's
the
been
puzzles are so cool.
it has been a few years since I played the first one. But the second, the number four, The Room was always one that I enjoyed and went back to a lot. I really enjoyed that one. I think that recently turned like 20 years old as well, which is kind of crazy. Um,
Yeah, that is nuts, isn't it? Like there's been quite a few sort of iterations and spin-offs as well, hasn't there? And really, I've kind of missed out on a lot of it because I've just not had a PlayStation. And
yeah.
so yeah, really that first one is the one that I've got the most kind of
Yeah,
experience
I
of.
remember getting a demo disc for Silent Hill 1. I think it was with Metal Gear Solid, because I think that would have been around about the same sort of time. And it's Konami as well, so that makes
Probably.
sense.
Yeah, that
Um,
would make sense.
yeah, and a demo disc, and it was obviously just like the first section of the game. So I think
Mm.
for ages I'd only played the first section of the game like about 6 times. I'd never. I think it gets to that point.
Yeah, right.
It gets to that point where like obviously it starts turning into Silent Hill, like
Yeah, because the
legit.
beginning is like you crash a car,
Yeah.
you get up and you're like,
Cheryl,
Cheryl,
where's Cheryl?
running
Running
about.
after. Tick, 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 tick.
And then the weird, like, I forgot that these things, like, when I was
You gotta
watching
like
it
let him
again,
kill you as
the
well.
creatures are like naked mole rats. The
Little
first
naked mole
creatures
rats, yeah.
with like funny little, I'm doing a
Yeah.
hand gesture for anyone who's just listening, but like funny little, like two-toed sloth claws,
Yeah.
and they just go,
And it's horrible because
um,
you do pretty
it's
much have to
horrible.
let them kill you. I used to hate those moments in games as well, where like I haven't got a weapon, I haven't got anything, and I'm
Yeah,
just getting
yeah.
mullered by these naked mole rats.
Yeah, they are like naked. I was trying, like when I was looking at it again, I was like, I forgot that's what they look like. They were just so
Yeah,
ridiculous looking. And obviously, as the game
it is
goes on, you
weird.
get different enemy types. But
Yeah.
yeah, those first ones, you're like, what is that?
What even are you?
What are you?
Yeah.
It's so
Um,
funny.
some of the enemies get replicated in this film. I
Yeah,
don't know. This is another. Obviously, again, we will talk about this, but this is another thing. It felt very Hellraiser-y, this sort of
the
like
film,
enemies and stuff. The film, but also like the
or
enemies and
the
stuff. Because
yeah, because that's more Silent Hill 2, isn't it? Where
yeah,
the kind of iconography of Silent Hill has become, a lot of it is based on, I think, what was kind of put through on Silent Hill 2, like
Mm.
Pyramid Head and the sort
Yeah,
of
because that's
the
considered like because it's
enemy
strange that
design.
that's getting a remake, but perhaps the first one isn't. It's almost like the first one's like, well, that's okay, but Silent Hill 2 is like the legit Silent Hill mythology piece or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because they think that the first one is a really good example of like a survival horror, and
Yeah.
the fact that it is quite pared back.
Mm,
Um, it really, I think, is probably what captured everyone's imagination, because you are literally like, it's quite desolate, and
mm,
all the, even when you're in the sort of dungeony, kind of decaying walls of the hospital and the school and everything, it's not like, it's not throwing everything at you. It's not like overly torture porny.
mm.
Um, and I think that it leans more into that sort of, yeah, Hellraiser-y, torture
Yeah.
porny,
Because it just feels like
Clive
everyone's
Barker visions of hell.
very Clive Barker, like very, very
Yeah, it
bondagey as well, isn't it?
changes.
Like there was loads of stuff in this where I'm
Yeah,
like, is this this feels more Hellraiser than Silent Hill to me? I don't know, like people in sort
yeah,
of tied up with things in their mouths and stuff. Like
yeah.
I
Completely naked woman on a slab, just for a
yeah, completely
ridiculous
naked
amount of
woman on a
time,
slab
just going.
who looks
"Uh."
like who looks like she's just like walked straight off the catwalk or something. She looks
Yeah,
absolutely prim and pristine, and she's lying on a slab, completely naked. Oh, help me! I think I might be turning into
I
a
know. It's
dolly or
like, why
something.
doesn't she get up? She's not even restrained. I did wonder that scene. I was like, you're not restrained, love. Just get up.
Just get up for God's
Just
sake.
go. Just
Uh,
get up.
before we get into like the nitty gritty of that, I got
Mhm.
just a couple of pieces of horror news, including two like game bits we can talk about.
Oh yeah.
The first one isn't so much game stuff, but there's a trailer now for Nosferatu, Robert Eggers' remake of the horror classic. I think this was shown with some films over the weekend in the US, and then it was like leaking online. So people, so they were like, okay, let's just put it out properly. It's being released on December 25th. Bill Skarsgård is playing the titular Nosferatu slash Count Orlok.
Mm.
Looks very, very interesting. I don't know if you saw this trailer at all. Did you see it?
I haven't seen the trailer. Big fan of the the old school Nosferatu black and white. Like,
Mm,
really such an atmospheric film.
yeah,
Um, that's exciting. Eggers, I kind of feel like, yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense as well, in terms of style. Yeah, exciting. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it looks incredible. Like cinematography wise, it looks great. The cast is awesome. Like Willem Dafoe, Lily Rose Depp,
of course.
Nicholas Hoult, of course, Willem Dafoe, Aaron Taylor
Of course.
Johnson.
Oh,
Um, yeah, you
interesting
don't.
choice.
The trailer, you don't really get much of a look at Count Orlok slash Nosferatu, which is good, I think. I feel like
Yeah.
now I'm done. I don't need to see any. If they go, oh, final trailer for Nosferatu, it's 2.5 minutes long. I go, don't need to watch that. Seen the teaser, know what I'm in, know what I'm getting myself in for. Um, there's some great shots. There's this really great shot of like it's a shot like panning over the city, and there's like a massive shadow of like a creepy vampire hand just over the
Mm.
city. It just looks amazing. Um, anyway,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, I'll look at
really,
it
really
after
looking forward to
this.
that. I feel like trailers are getting a little bit better, especially teaser trailers for like, especially for modern
Yeah,
horror. I'm talking
we've
about things like Nosferatu. This trailer looks great. I saw the trailer for that Cuckoo, Long Legs. These trailers are just, it feels like it's not giving away too much in terms of plot. There's not like money shots in terms of visuals.
yeah.
It's just setting the scene and we know what to expect, kind of.
Yeah, because I think there was a tradition, it was sort of like about 10 years ago when it started, when you were just getting these like really long,
Hmm.
let's tell you the entire plot trailers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm over that. I kind of don't watch trailers very much for that
Yeah.
reason. I
Good thing
think
to
I
do.
like a teaser, yeah, like a kind of sting, like a this is a bit of flavor, sizzle, I should say, not a sting. Um, that they yeah, those ones, sure, but I kind of don't like watching trailers. I kind of want to see the poster. I want to read a really brief blurb, and then I'm
Yeah.
out.
I
And
think
then
it
and
is.
I'm like, if that doesn't do it for me, then I probably won't watch it unless word of mouth gets me,
Yeah. Unless people
so
start saying this is really good. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I think like a lot of um bigger studios or like mainstream horror movies aren't very good at trailers. They tend to show a lot. But I feel like things like this or things with um like a big name horror director attached to them, like obviously Eggers or
Yeah, like Jordan Peele stuff.
Midsummer Jordan Peele. I was gonna say the Midsummer
Yeah.
guy. What's his name?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, why has this
Oh my
popped out of my
gosh.
head?
I
Ari
know, same.
Aster. Ari Aster,
Oh
like
yeah,
Nia DaCosta as well, like sort of people who've like
yeah, yeah,
established
yeah.
themselves with like real big films that like the name alone gives them a bit of control over the trailer. I feel like they can say we don't want to show too
Probably.
much. We want to kind of direct the trailer essentially. But I think big
Mm.
studios kind of just go, we gotta show them everything because otherwise no one's gonna want to come and see it.
Yeah, but everyone hates it. I just don't understand.
Yeah, they
I
do
just don't
exactly.
get the logic. Everyone hates it.
Yeah,
I don't know
like so.
anyone who's like, thank God they showed me the whole story before I watched the film.
I just hate because you're
The
like,
worst one for it is like anything with a romantic plot.
oh,
And
okay,
I hate romantic films. I hate them. Like I just find them so boring. But if you're sat in the cinema and then there's a trailer for something that's got a romantic plot, you're like,
yeah,
well, you've told me who they end up with at the end already.
we
Like,
already know
you
exactly.
already know. What's the point?
God damn it.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid. But this comes out on December the 25th, 2024. I'm not sure if that's UK release as well as US release because the UK cinemas even open on Christmas Day. Is that a thing?
So is that the 25th, did you say, or 24th? Sorry, I kind of
25th.
didn't hear you.
25th.
Oh,
I
not
know
sure.
I know US theaters do because
Boxing
I
Day
think
is a big thing, isn't it here? Like I've definitely been to the cinema on
yeah,
Boxing Day, but yeah, I don't know about Christmas.
weird. Well, what a
Weird.
lovely Christmas present to give yourself. Uh Gothic vampire movie. I can't think of anything else that
Why
screams
is it not coming
festive.
out in November
I
or like
I
October,
don't
like
know.
around Halloween, man?
That would be good.
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah, looking forward to that. Um, the couple of bits of gaming news I had is that there's a PC port of Resident Evil that's now available on GOG. I think you say GOG. I don't think you say GOG. Resident
Yeah.
Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 are also coming soon, but this is quite interesting because I saw that like Capcom had applied for the licensing for this, and I think a lot of people thought that it was going to be a remake of the original game or maybe a remake of Code Veronica that was going to happen. I don't know whether this throws cold water on that or not, but still it's pretty interesting to allow everybody to play this because these games aren't really accessible unless they're in physical format. Like
Yeah.
on PlayStation Plus, I think they've got Resident Evil Director's Cut, but obviously you have to subscribe to PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
And 2 and 3, like you can't just if you go, oh, I fancy playing that. If you don't own it, you can't find it anywhere. So GOG is pretty
Yeah.
good because you can kind of play it on pretty much any device and with like any controller. So it's not a case of needing like, I don't know, a Steam Deck or something like that. You can just go and pick it up. And I don't want to say this without reading it and confirming, but I swear it was like either not a lot of money or I don't want to say it was
Let's
free.
have, let's have a look because I'm not that up with this news. So let's have a
Yeah,
quick
this
look.
this kind of this came out of nowhere a little bit. And again, off the back of them applying for the rights to the name, everyone thought, oh, it's going to be a remake. They're
It's
going to
gonna be
get
a
a
remake,
remake. It's
yeah.
going to be on all the modern systems and that. So yeah. But it's the
Mhm.
PC port of it, apparently. The Windows 95 port, in fact. I did watch a video about it earlier.
Okay, yeah. Resident Evil bundle.
Yeah.
No one. Oh yeah, 2 days. Yeah, this is breaking
This is
news.
brand new.
Because
This is
I've been in show mode all week, so I haven't
show
actually caught up
mode.
with my gaming news. But yeah, that sounds exciting. And I mean, you raise a really good point about the kind of lack of backwards compatibility for sort of older titles and like
Yeah.
the digital preservation of older titles, which I know is like a big in the games industry at the moment. Digital, speaking unclearly, digital preservation is like a hot topic because as we're moving towards what is going to happen, I'm afraid, is all digital is going to happen. And so it's like, how do we preserve our game libraries? How do we bring those games with us without having to buy them like 20 million times?
Yeah.
And that's if they are being remastered and brought with and
Yeah. Of
you know, so
course.
it's a big problem. And then people that do like want to go and get those old cartridges and stuff, like people are selling them for stupid money online. It's a joke. And then people are also casting them. Have you seen these sort of resin casts that
Yeah.
like people are getting a cartridge game
Yeah.
and like casting it in this thing, this glass or resin thing, and then no one can ever play it, and then selling it for like $200 or something, 300
Yeah.
bucks. It's nuts.
That is
So yeah,
insane. Yeah. I mean, Silent
it's
Hill is one of them. I
yeah.
think Silent Hill 3, 4, well, maybe 2 and 3 are like going for a decent whack. But I think things like The Room and like Silent Hill Downpour and Homecoming, especially on like formats like the Wii, where like I had a quite a limited run on there. They're
Hmm.
selling for loads, like absolutely loads, and it is kind of frustrating because I would
Yeah.
like to own them all and have them all nicely on the shelf, but
Yeah,
unfortunately not.
it's sad. I think like hopefully the industry addresses it because as we do move into a kind of digital only age, it's like it's really tough. It's not really the same as what's happened with sort of like VHS and DVDs. Like
Mm.
you can sort of get stuff a bit more freely in that market, but games just seem to have just like locked itself into this horrible sort of like
Yeah,
hierarchy of if you can afford to get the kind of old school systems and the old school games, then that's for you, but no one else can. So
yeah,
yeah.
it is
Oh,
frustrating. It is
yeah.
frustrating. And the only other bit of news I got about games is that Capcom has announced, Capcom, ever so busy, a Dead Rising deluxe remaster for modern systems. This was kind of one in a similar way to you describing that you never owned a PlayStation. I've never owned an Xbox. So
All right.
when Dead Rising first came out and things like Left 4 Dead, they were Xbox exclusive, so I never
Yeah.
ever played them. So now I have played both of them a bit, like again, as you say, like on someone else's console. But
Yeah.
yeah, now a HD remaster for PS. Well, actually, yeah, I guess all modern systems. This deluxe remaster. There was a HD remaster 10 years ago for PS4 and Xbox One. This is going to be a deluxe remaster, which is just shinier, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
Did you ever play
nice.
that?
I
Did you
mean,
ever play Dead Rising?
again, I've dipped into it. It's not
Yeah,
really for I'm not a fan of zombie games traditionally.
yeah.
I'm getting better at them, but I just get scared. But I've got better at them actually. I've
Just
gone
no.
back and played actually Resident Evil's kind of helped me. I've kind of gone
Mm,
back and played a bit more and got over it a bit, but I'm not really, yeah, zombies ain't my thing. I like spooky games. I like games that are like about tension and yeah, like running around a spooky location and solving puzzles with some threat elements, obviously, but like when it's just like hordes of zombies, it's just not less into
yeah,
that.
I guess. Yeah, I know what you
Um,
mean. Dead Rising is
but
pretty nuts. It's stressful. Hordes of
yeah,
zombies are
it's
stressful.
stressful. Yeah,
Did you ever
hordes.
see
It's
the
the hordes thing.
Did you see the hordes in Days Gone, the game?
Yeah, yeah, not again, not
Yeah,
just.
super stressful. Just like, yes,
I
so
just
stressful.
can't.
I think
It's
I've
like
got a
my brother really loves Dying Light, and I'm like, no, that's just no.
yeah,
Because you
first
have to
person as
like,
well.
yeah, no.
No, thank you.
I like the idea of the parkour, but
Yeah,
everything else can get fucked, quite
right in
frankly.
your face.
I
Absolutely not.
just don't want to be deliberately having to go into the nighttime areas. Like,
See, I
yeah,
always
there's loads of
find
zombies to retrieve stuff that you need to like complete the game.
yeah,
No,
I
thank you.
always find Silent Hill kind of a bit scarier than zombie games for me because I feel like with zombies you kind of know what you're getting, don't you? You understand, shoot them in the head or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
but with Silent Hill, it was just unpredictable. It was way darker
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, that's
At
the thing
least
with
the
me.
Resident
It's
Evil
like,
rooms are well lit. Sorry, go on.
yeah, right. Yeah, no, for sure. No, I kind of agree with you. It's weird that zombies bother me so much because I will play like really, really scary games that don't have zombies in them. You
Yeah.
know, it's just I just have a zombie thing. I don't know what
Yeah,
it is. It's
I'm with
something
you.
about the being eaten. I think because I can watch films with zombies, no problem. Great, love it.
Yeah,
But it's when you're controlling the character, especially in first person, like I really have an issue with like being
yeah,
eaten.
yeah.
Concept of
That's
being
not nice.
eaten. I don't like it. But like give me a rabid naked mole rat with weird claws and I'm fine. Like a weird like
I'm well up for the naked
nurse
mole
with
rat.
a yeah, or like a nurse with like a big tumor type hump out of her back trying to go
Yeah,
at me. That's fine because it's not really a zombie. I don't know what it is. I don't know
as
what
long
it
as
is
you're not
about
a zombie,
zombies.
you can stab me
Yeah,
as much as you want, but
yeah, stab me, it's fine,
don't go
but
eat me up.
don't eat me. It's
Please
really
no.
weird. Yeah, I'm fine with creatures. Like creatures are fine and they try and eat you. I don't know what it is about zombies. It's
Yeah.
weird.
At least most things in Silent Hill seem to have like no face, so they can't eat you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they just kind of they just sort of do that.
They just grab you. They do a
Ah,
weird robot
blah,
walk and just grab you
blah.
and just yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Um,
Just,
yeah.
okay. So just before we get into Silent Hill, revelation. Just
Oh,
any,
yeah.
I was going to say, what anything we've been watching from like the last 7 days, I guess, as you're on the show, Jem, it should be anything you've been playing as well, horror or horror
Yep.
adjacent. Is there anything you've been playing or watching recently you'd like to talk about or recommend?
Yeah, so obviously just did a rewatch of the whole of Silent Hill 1, which was
Mm.
really fun, actually. Really enjoyed it. And I am playing Hellblade 2, which I'm like right at the end of
Oh
now.
yeah, you mentioned this to me, didn't
Which,
you? Yeah.
oh God, yeah. It's been a divisive game. Like, people have differing opinions on it.
Mm.
I'm really into it. I'm really enjoying it. It is probably the most like beautiful game I've ever seen in terms of the visuals, the visual fidelity, and the amazing sound design in both of those games is just, yeah, it's like next level. And I am quite taken with the performance, the central performance. Her name, what is it with names today, Ben? Her name has just gone out of my head, the actress. Oh my God. But
Yeah.
anyway, the central
Didn't
performance of Senua, like, that is just unbelievable, and give her all the awards, because what an
Melina
amazing
Jurgens,
Bassett, Melina.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just outstanding.
Isn't
So
it true?
beautiful.
I can't remember who told me this. Might have been Andy who said that she was originally just supposed to be a stand-in for
Yeah,
maybe.
because she's an editor, I think, is
Oh
her
wow,
back. Like,
okay.
she was part of the like team,
Hmm.
and stood in, and then they were just like, actually, no, you're her. Like, it
You're
just
her, yeah,
worked.
exactly.
But when you see her face, like, you sort of understand she's got so much emotion in her eyes,
Mm.
that in it, because of the way the game is, it's like almost real. Like, everything is
Yeah.
so close to just shooting an actor on camera. It's like as close as you can get, and her face and her performance is just so beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
she won a BAFTA for it
really
as well,
loved it.
right?
I think the first one, yeah. So
The
this
first
one's
one, yeah.
obviously quite new still, but yeah, she needs to win shit. Yeah,
Mm.
it's really, even if people are, some people are like not into it, I think, because the player input is not perhaps what people want it to be, because
Mm.
it's very much like an experience, and you
Got
are
you.
playing, like, you are walking around and deciding when to do things and solving puzzles, but it's not like an action game.
Yeah.
So the player input is in some areas quite minimal, and your effects on combat in some areas are quite minimal. Like, there are points when whatever you do, you're going to kind of fail, because it's kind of scripted that way, and because there's no heads up, there's no indications or anything on screen to interrupt the screen. The screen is just always
Oh, so there's
a
no
clean
like
screen.
user interface at all. It's just
Nothing.
got you. Okay.
Nothing. So when you're engaging in combat, you just, like,
Yeah.
the camera angle slightly changes, and you're like, okay, oh, I can actually wield my sword now, because you can't wield your sword just walking around.
I've
So
got you. I've got you.
it's sort of like they're kind of telling you when you can interact and when you can't. So parts of it are very much like you're watching a series, and then
Mm.
interacting here and there and solving puzzles here and there. So and some people don't like that, but which is fine. That's fine. But if you take it for what it is, it's kind of
Yeah.
a masterpiece, I think.
So the first
Yeah.
one was the same now in terms of the combat and everything.
Yeah, and this combat is better than the first. The first one's combat was a point of contention for almost everyone, because it was
Mm.
just like kind of relentless spawning of the same enemy type again and again
Yeah.
and
I've
again,
got you.
and it was really boring, and it was very button bashy. This one is much more dynamic, it's very different. So I think they've definitely improved that. But I think people wanted them to improve it by it becoming an action game, which is just
Yeah.
never what it was. I think this is sort of a victim of its own success in some
Yeah.
ways, where the expectation from players is like, I don't think ever what they were
I guess it's
intending to do.
because when you look at it from an outsider and not played it, you'd probably think, oh, that's probably a bit like God of War or something. And I guess
Yeah, and it just
this
isn't.
just isn't. Yeah, that's good. I like
No,
that.
but it
Again, I've
is
not played that because
not got
yeah,
an Xbox.
because not got an Xbox. Yeah. Again, I think we'll get it on. Yeah, I would like to play it
Yeah,
though.
I don't know. I mean, everything is potentially going cross-platform soon, so you're probably
Yeah,
going to be fine.
hopefully.
Um, Yeah, I think the way things are going is that exclusives are going to just be timed exclusives. I think that's probably what's going to happen. And then it's better for gamers, I think.
Yeah. Oh
If
yeah,
people
definitely.
stop getting tribal about it, it's better for gamers. Like if more games are on
Yeah.
more platforms, we all win actually.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I know people get all tribal about that stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
I want to play
Yeah.
Helldivers 2, god damn it. So and I don't have a PlayStation.
Oh, right.
So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, like there's games where I'm like, can I just play that, please? And I don't want to have to spend 500
Spend
quid
another
on a
on
new bit
another
of hardware.
console. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The game I've been
Yeah.
playing this week is the Elden Ring DLC. Uh,
Oh, yeah. Have you got the new update that makes it not as hard?
well, apparently the new update that makes it not as hard is for a certain boss that I'm nowhere near anyway, so that's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
I'm happy
Yeah,
with that.
because yeah, I haven't I've got Elden Ring. I own it. My brother bought it for me for Christmas as a kind of a joke because I hate from software games because I just get angry. So I've got it and I will play it. But I haven't played it yet. But yeah, the DLC kind of, I think people were getting really angry because you have to progress through it, you have to beat a really, really hard
Yeah.
boss. And so the recent update has made the boss less hard from
Yeah.
what I've heard in the news.
It's pretty hard to
So
get to anyway, because in the main game you have to have beaten two pretty hard bosses for the DLC to even open up. And then once you're in there, you kind of have to level up this certain area of your build. Otherwise, it is just unforgiving. Like the level of difficulty. Like you
yeah.
walk in, you've got a level 150 character. You're thinking you're the big man, and then you're getting one shot killed by loads of different things. But I think I've what happened with Elden Ring is like it took me a long time, but once I finally hit the rhythm of it,
Yeah.
then I was good and I was also enjoying it. Even the bosses that were killing me dozens of times, I was still enjoying it to a degree. And I feel like
Yeah.
the DLC is the same learning curve. And once you manage to hit that rhythm, and I think I'm
Yeah.
maybe just starting to hit that rhythm now, you have a lot more fun with it. But it is like visually, it's amazing. Like the mythology is outstanding. The enemy design is like unbelievable. Like some of the stuff there. Um, and like in a way, like there is a lot of horror stuff that's kind of there. Obviously, like high fantasy
Yeah.
horror stuff as well. But
Yeah.
some of the designs, some of the locations you're in, like these horrible big creepy hands that are basically spiders that come up to you and just poke you to death. It's
Yuck.
yeah, it is good though. Like I was like, I'm probably not gonna pay because it's pretty much the same price as the base game is currently.
Yeah, that was another thing that people were kind of kicking off about.
Yeah. So initially I wasn't
But how
sure.
long is the DLC campaign, do you know?
Again, I think just like Elden Ring, it's just like it completely depends on the player and like
On your
how
player?
much of it you want to explore. It seems absolutely huge. I feel like I've not properly scratched the surface. Apparently, it's about half the length of the main adventure.
Hmm.
Apparently, but even then, like the main adventure, I think I've put like 80 hours into everything in
Hmm.
total so far, and I feel
Wow,
like
it's a
it could
lot.
be. I feel like it could be a lot more than that though.
Yeah, and I heard that I don't know if this is true, so you can tell me. If you completed Elden Ring and then started New Game Plus and then hadn't completed it yet, is it true that you had to then complete it unless you had an old save
I
to
think you
start the
had.
DLC?
I think you have to
Like,
beat a certain two bosses at least.
right,
Because it's kind of like you beat one boss and it kind of changes the world you're in, and then you beat
right.
another boss, and the entry to the DLC is in that sort of boss arena. So you kind of need to have beaten that guy as well.
Yeah.
I think that's it. But yeah, it doesn't make it easy. There's so many
No,
things
no, of
in
course
Elden
not.
Ring and the DLC where I'm like, how would anyone work that out on their own? Like I've had to Google
Mm.
so many things and then do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. Talk to this character.
Yeah,
Make sure you talk to this character 6 times or you won't open up
I
their
know.
quest line.
This
And
is
I'm
why I
like,
don't
what?
enjoy from software games because I'm like, I enjoy like them to a point, and then I have to really grind this. I have to really like put
Yeah.
everything into, as you say, for getting into the rhythm of it. And maybe 15 years ago, I would have had the lifestyle that meant I could do that. But certainly like now with a toddler,
Yeah.
like,
Oh no.
with like about 5 different jobs, I just can't, I
I know
just
what you
don't
mean.
have that like brain space in my life to like invest so heavily in
Yeah.
that type of gameplay. I like games that are hard, but I like games that are hard that I can go away and think about it and then come
Yeah.
back, rather than games that are hard because you just have to redo and redo and redo
Yeah.
and redo. Like I prefer the mental challenge of like, oh, hang on a minute, right,
Mm.
let me just like step away
Do you
from
know
this
what?
for a
There is
bit
a
and
little
come
bit
back.
of that though, because even though
Yeah,
you
of
do
course.
kind of get stuck with like doing the same thing over and over again, but sometimes I'll step away from it and I'll think about it for a while and I'll go, actually, maybe I'll try this. And there's so many different
Yeah.
combinations of like things you can do in your build that you do get the opportunity to just try something a bit different if you keep, yeah, or you can just go away and level up a bit and then come back.
Yeah.
Um,
That's usually like when I have had a go. That's usually my strategy. It's just
yeah,
like level up as much as possible,
level
and
up
then
all the
attempt it.
way.
But I anticipate I'll put like 10 hours into it and then just be like, do you know
Yeah.
what? I just want to experience it because like I agree with you. It looks beautiful,
Yeah.
character work, the lore, like all of that I'm quite into. It's just the
Mm.
gameplay for me.
Yeah.
I don't like games where I have to die a few times to learn
Yeah. And there are
something.
so
I'm
many
like,
times where you go, this is
oh,
impossible. No one in the world has beaten this boss. This is
yeah,
too hard. And then you'll come back to it later and you'll be like, actually, I
did
did all
it.
right there.
Yeah.
It's
But the
tough.
frustration for me is like sometimes in reattempting the boss when you've got to confront a couple of easy enemies on the way
That
and
is
then they
frustrating.
kill you and you're just like, oh, for God's sake, and that's when the controller rage happens. It's
Absolutely.
like, no.
Or
I
when you've got
hate
to like
it.
watch the cutscene again, it doesn't let you skip it. Well, I didn't sign up for this. No way.
I remember when I played Resident Evil 7 after playing Village, which I think was one of the last times we spoke, wasn't it? Because we reviewed Village. I
Yeah.
played it in the wrong way around. And I
Yeah.
went back to that and I remember isn't there like a bit of a cutscene at the bit um when you're still in the house, when you go down into the garage and there's like the cage and
Yeah.
you're like stuck in the cage with the guy with the chainsaw.
Yeah. And you've got to like block the thing
And I'm
and yeah.
sure, like, when I died in that, there was like a really annoying, like, preamble bit. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
misremembering, but somewhere in that game, I was like, why do I have to watch this beginning every single
Yeah.
fucking time? Just put me back in.
I know every
It's just
word.
so annoying. I know, it's so
Yeah,
annoying.
that is frustrating.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
yes.
anything else at all you've watched?
Um, I've just been, this isn't really horror, but I'm going to mention it anyway. I've
Yeah, do
just
it.
before I got into Hellblade, so only like a couple of weeks ago, I just played Disco Elysium for the first time,
Oh yeah.
which isn't
Okay.
horror, but it's sort of nightmarish in terms of how much it delves into your own psyche, but like an actual masterpiece. So I kind of want to just put it out there. Like most gamers have heard of that game,
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it, but maybe just not picked it up. I would say pick it up. It's like absolutely amazing, and yeah, really delves into the sort of the abyss of the human condition, and
Wow.
like
Okay.
it's really fun as well. It's really fun and very funny and entertaining. But you very much bombarded with human condition type thinking. Some of the best game writing probably ever
Oh wow.
in
Okay.
that game.
And is it sort of like
Um,
a isometric view type
yeah,
thing?
isometric view. It's a basically you wake up as a cop who doesn't remember anything, including who you are. So you can't even look in the mirror and see your own face
Wow.
at the
Okay.
start of the game. So and
Mm.
your choices have like direct consequences to what happens. And you're basically walking around talking to people, trying to figure out who you are.
Mm.
Guys hanging, meanwhile, on the back of on a tree, like a guy's like hanging like dead on a tree, and you've got to figure out who killed him because that's your job. But you also don't know who you are, or you can't remember anything about policing. You know, like it's a real kind of it's an amnesia thing
Yeah.
where you're just like piecing reality together, learning about the world that you're in, which is a sort of like it's real world, but it's another world.
Mm.
So the countries don't have the same names as our countries, and the history is very different. And there
Got
are
you. Okay.
elements of sort of something a bit fantastical around the edges. But yeah, it's amazing. The voice acting in that is
Yeah. Maybe I need to check it out because I think
check it out.
I've always kind of just seen the title and kind of not really known like
Mm.
what was the crack. I don't know why.
Yeah, and a lot, I know a lot of people think it's like because of the title, they just assume it's a sci-fi. I think because of that film Elysium.
Yeah.
But like it's not a sci-fi.
A
It's
detective RPG, pretty much is
yeah.
what
Oh yeah,
as it's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
described
yeah.
there.
So
Interesting.
yes, yeah, that's a good one. And then
Interesting.
I've got Alan Wake DLC to get into once I
Oh
finish
yeah.
Hellblade.
Wow.
Night Springs. Woo.
I hate.
Um,
I know I've definitely mentioned on the show, but I still haven't played Alan Wake 2. And the reason being, I was waiting for the physical release, and now we finally got confirmation of that. So I will be on that. Just because I
and
would
then
have
we're
bought
gonna
it.
have another chat.
We'll have another chat. I would have bought it digitally, but I think it was such a big. I loved Alan Wake so much. I wanted the physical edition. I wanted to kind of hold out for that. So yeah.
I
But
hope
yeah,
no one has spoiled anything for you.
I'm pretty good at avoiding spoilers or just kind of
Good.
like not really remembering them. Like someone to say something and
Yeah,
I
good.
kind of just
Yeah.
forget about it,
Go
But
go in cold, don't read anything about it. And
mm,
yeah, and then
Night
when you're
Springs
done,
has
I'd
had
love to
good
chat to you
reviews.
about it. Yeah, because it's an
Yeah.
anthology and yeah, it's
Wow.
it
Super cool.
sounds like it's gonna be super fun. Um yeah, looking forward to it because I love Alan Wake.
Exciting. The only thing I wanted to
Mm.
mention that I've watched is the film I Saw the TV Glow, directed by Jane Schoenbrunn. I think that's how you say that
Mm.
person's name. Director of the movie We're All Going to the World's Fair, which I did see, but I didn't really get it. Maybe that was the problem. I didn't really get it. I saw the TV Glow. I got it a bit more. However, I
Hmm.
feel like it's a true film of two halves. Like the first half is like dreamy suburban American teen drama. The second half is like trying to be Lynchian, I feel like, but it just feels like it's way too meandering for its own
Hmm.
good. Like kind of like a lightweight Lynchian type thing. So I was disappointed because I was really invested and then it kind of just petered out. So it's interesting. I'm interested to see what the director would do next because it feels like this is a much bigger um budget than We're All Going to the World's Fair. Another thing I was confused about, right? Opening credits, it says Fred Durst. And I'm like, hang on a minute. Fred Durst is in this film. Honestly, I feel like an idiot, but I was like, I didn't spot him once. Where's Fred Durst? Where is he? When's he going to come into this film? And then suddenly I realized it was like the dad of the main character was Fred Durst, unrecognizable.
You
I don't know
didn't.
if it's
Oh,
just
okay.
because he's got like pretty much no beard or he's just like wearing just standard civilian clothes. You only see
Maybe.
him like at night, like sat on the sofa or something. So
Oh,
I was like, when's Fred Durst gonna turn up? And I
yeah,
was like,
that's really funny.
oh, there he is. But a really weird casting choice for an
Oh,
actor who was barely in it and barely said anything. But yeah, worth checking out.
mates of the director, maybe. Yeah, oh, so you'd recommend the film?
Yeah, it's kind of like
I've
about a
not
TV
heard of it
show
really.
called The Pink Opaque. And The Pink Opaque is like a 90s kind of like supernatural teen show, and they've done really well at recreating that. Like it looks like Buffy or it looks like something like that.
Oh,
Sometimes when
nice.
they try and create, oh, this is a TV show within the film, and you don't really buy it. You're a bit like, well, that doesn't
Hmm.
really look like anything I've ever seen before. I'm really, really convinced by the show, almost to the point where I was like, I kind of wish it existed because it looks really cool. Um,
Mm.
but yeah,
Oh, nice.
an interesting film,
Okay,
definitely.
thanks.
And I
Yeah.
watched one other
Oh,
thing, Jem. Did you watch something
oh,
else?
go on. No, I
You
don't think
didn't?
so.
I think you did.
Don't think. Oh, that. Oh, the. Okay, I
Oh,
see what you're
this.
doing. I was about to say, should we get into the
See what
film?
you
And you were
did there.
segueing really smoothly, and I
Smooth old
ruined it, and I
segue.
do apologize.
It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Uh,
um. Great. Yeah.
Silent
Let's
Hill,
get in. Yeah.
Revelation. Do you feel
Revelation.
like films like this always have a sort of tagline based? It's kind of like this word, revelation,
Yeah.
retribution. What
Yeah.
else? There's loads of stuff
Ab-
like this.
absolution.
Absolution. Apocalypse
um.
is probably the one.
Evolution. Evolution. That gets thrown around quite a
Evolution,
lot.
because it's like this is a
Yeah.
sequel. It's a different take on this film. It's an
Yeah.
evolution of it. Revelation, and most of the time, I feel like these little subheadings, taglines, I feel like they mean nothing because I'm almost like, what's the
They don't.
revelation in this film? I mean, I kind of get it, but what is it?
I don't know if is there a revelation. I mean there
I
I
don't
mean
know.
there is, but there is because yeah, it's,
There kind
they
of is, but there
they
isn't.
just don't want they want to get away from like using the ones and the twos because they want to be able to like
Yeah, but I
extend
kind of
and
like
go
that
back
now. I feel
a
like
little
two and
bit.
three. It makes you know where you are with that, don't you?
Yeah,
With things like
exactly.
Resident Evil, when
Yeah.
people go, "Oh, Resident Evil Extinction," people go, yeah, but what number is that? One,
Which
two,
one was that? Yeah,
three,
exactly.
5,
Was that
6.
the one in the desert with the like so
It
many
is.
crows? Which one was that? Is that
It
one?
is that one. But that's the
Yeah,
thing.
I
You
actually
don't
quite
identify
like
it
that one.
by which number in the series it is. You identify it by like what happens in the film. Um,
Yeah.
so
Actually, I lied earlier. Some of the Resident Evil films are actually quite good for what they
how
are, aren't
dare
they?
you? I'm joking. Well, if you're
They're
interested to know,
stupid, but yeah.
me and Andy have done a franchise ranking episode of
I
Resident
think I
Evil.
I think I've listened to it.
Oh, you
I
have?
just forgot. Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah.
I just
And if you,
forgot.
it was really difficult to rank films that I kind of dislike, but like the same amount. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've given that a 3 out of 10.
They
Where can I put
were,
that
I mean,
alongside the other one? I've
yeah,
given
I
a
guess it is going
3.5
back to
out
what
of
I
10.
said earlier, which is like they're kind of good because of like context and like who you watch them with and the
Yeah.
stupidity of some of it
I
makes it
think
fun.
I could definitely have a lot more patience. It's because it's my favorite franchise, like my favorite gaming
Yeah,
franchise.
sure. Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
that's just a bit annoying. That's the films
Yeah,
you
and they
got.
don't have a great deal to do with the games. Like they just sort
No.
of
The first one, a bit.
a
The
bit,
second
but
one,
not
a little bit. After that, not so much.
no.
Okay. So
Anyway.
this week's film is Silent Hill Revelation, which is also known as
Hmm.
Silent Hill Revelation 3D. It was released in
It
3D
was
in
3D,
theaters.
yeah.
Can you believe it? A 2012 supernatural horror film written and directed by MJ Bassett. It's got 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb,
Oh
8%
wow.
8% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, 35% critic score, Letterboxd 3.3 out of 5, and some choice reviews of that film on Letterboxd. Harlequin Aid says, given that the Game of Thrones finale exists, this isn't even the most embarrassing thing Kit Harington has appeared in. Half a star. Harsh. Ali Bug. This sucks ass. I'm just giving it a higher rating because I want Pyramid Head to obliterate me. 2.5 stars. The Pyramid Head kink exists. Evan says a psyche melting, nihilistic wee port of the first film. I kind of like that as a description for some reason.
A
Like
repo. Is
no,
that
like wee
we
port.
oh
Like
Weeport. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Okay, no, that's funny. I was like, a Weeport? What are you saying? Okay. I didn't
He's given it
understand what you said.
he's given it 4 stars with that, so I don't know what he's thinking. And Jeffrey Broomer says, and this is kind of like what I was thinking, the best Hellraiser sequel since 1996 Hellraiser Bloodline, whatever that means. 2.5 stars. Um,
Right.
we've kind of we've kind of already discussed and kind of set the scene enough on this film, I think. But in terms of the
Hmm.
cast, Adelaide Clemens is Heather Mason. I was just thinking the whole time she just looks like Michelle Williams, but
Yeah,
it's
same.
the haircut, isn't
Same. I
it?
was like, and something about her like nose and mouth is Michelle Williams.
Yeah,
Because before I watched it, I saw a still and I was like, wait, is Michelle Williams in this? How did I not know
I
that? And
know,
then
right?
it was like,
I'm
yeah,
looking at
it's like
pictures
young
of
Michelle Williams. Yeah.
she looks like a complete different person. This
And I
Adelaide
meant to
Clemens.
look this up. Is she not? Is anyone in this film actually American? That was the
She's
question. Because I
Australian.
feel like her, yeah, I was going to say
Yeah,
her accent ain't the one, and nor is Kit's, and nor is Sean's.
no, and even Carrie-Anne
Bless you all
Moss
for
is
trying.
Canadian. Carrie-Anne Moss is.
Oh, it was Carrie-Anne Moss, wasn't it? Of
It
course it
was
was. I was like, who is
unrecognizable.
that actress? Because I know her face.
Obviously, Malcolm McDowell as well, English.
Oh yeah, I mean, we'll
Radha
talk about
Mitchell,
that moment.
Australian. So literally, yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
no
in
one's
this film
American.
is American. Weird.
Yeah, so straight away you are going down the loony accent train because everyone's from different places in made up America at different points when you see them in the film.
Yeah,
It's just like, wait, where are you from again? No,
exactly.
wait, your accent has changed. Yeah, it's
Some people
quite,
just abandon the accent sort of like halfway through and
yeah,
just stop bothering.
yeah.
Which is kind of
Basically,
crazy.
Kit Harington, I think, is
Yeah.
guilty of that one because he kind of does that sort of transatlantic British accent by the
Mm.
end of the film. Um, but
It,
also, like, just it must be weird as an actor. It's really hard if you're doing an accent that's not your own, and like everyone else is doing different accents. Like,
mm.
it's it's much easier to get your head into an accent when like everyone's got the same accent. And I
Right.
think if
Okay.
you're then opposite a bunch of other actors who also are like British and Australian, that is really not going to help your like
Yeah.
consistency. It is, yeah. So bless them all. I mean, like from first-hand experience, and I'm not even being shady, like from
Bless you all.
first-hand experience, that's actually very hard.
Yeah.
Because you'll have your break, and unless you're a method twat, you sorry, that was shade. You will just talk normally, like as soon as
Have you
you're on
ever been
break.
around
And then,
anyone who is a method?
yeah, that's why I
What?
use that term. I'm just not into
That's
it.
kind
I
of
just no.
fascinating.
Yeah. But to be fair, I've only been around people who try and do method who aren't like
Yeah.
successful
Oh
actors, if you know what I
no,
mean.
that's not good,
So
is it?
they're trying to do method on a short film, and I'm like, I'm not going
Come
to
on
call you
now.
by your character name. Fuck off.
I'll only respond to this. Actually, my
No,
character is
sorry.
lactose intolerant, so I won't be having milk in my tea.
Like, oh yeah, whatever. I should probably be more respectful of people's processes, but it's just annoying when people ask you to do things like call them their character name, and
Yeah.
then they speak in like they just
Yeah.
speak really weirdly to you because their character's meant to be weird, and then they're like, or mean to you because their character's meant to be mean. You know, like,
Yeah.
shut up, David, sit down.
Come on, David, sit down.
I made
Also,
up that name, by the way. That wasn't a real David.
David who? We'll find out. We'll get to the
It's
bottom of
okay.
it.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Sure.
Whoa.
So obviously, Adelaide Clemens is like Heather Mason slash Sharon De Silva. Sharon De Silva is like a made up name, I guess, because Sean Bean's also got one.
Yeah.
He's Harry Mason slash Christopher De Silva. If you're making up a name, why are you attributing De Silva to yourself as like? Do you know
I
what I mean?
wanted to ask if you had more information about where these names come from. Like is it from another, like one of the spin-off Silent Hill
I
games or
mean,
something?
obviously,
Where
like
does
Harry
this De Silva
Mason.
come from?
Harry
Yeah,
Mason.
Harry. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, we know.
But like, and then Harry's daughter is Cheryl. Like, so why is she called Sharon? I was
So
confused.
in
Where does
this, they've
Sharon
kind
come
of
from? Is
like
that from
so she's the character
two,
from the third
three?
game, but then they've
Oh yeah,
like
that's three. So then she's
connected
Sharon.
her to
Right.
Harry for some reason in this film. Um, yeah, so obviously Sean Bean slash Sean Bourne, Scene Bean
Sean Bean.
is in this, and then yeah, and then Carrie-Anne Moss. It was kind of like essentially the same character as in the original Silent Hill, but the sister of that
Yes.
character. They've gone, we need the crazy, nutty, cult leader person, but we haven't got this actress, so now we need Carrie-Anne Moss and then Malcolm
Yeah,
McDowell.
because it isn't her baby in it, is it? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
misremember a lot
confusing.
of the plot points from both of them, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Um,
I think because I've got the first Silent Hill plot like quite in my head
mm,
at the moment. So yeah, when I'm sort of
yeah,
looking back, I'm like, how are they trying to connect the dots here? Because they're referencing a lot of that original plot,
yeah,
but also via the stuff that happens in Silent Hill.
yeah. It's weird. The only one line of dialogue that makes sense to me is when Malcolm McDowell says about someone being in Silent Hill. He's like, yeah, but which Silent Hill? There are lots of different versions of Silent Hill. So, because Silent Hill essentially is supposed to be a sort of somebody's psyche, somebody's mental
Yeah,
state, um, forming this or affecting this in some way. So really, like, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really make sense that you can just go there, like, as a person, unless you're the
yeah.
main character. That makes sense. But someone like, I don't know, Kit Harington, because it seems like the people from the cult are just casually walking out of Silent Hill and going and trying to get
Yeah,
Heather
there's a
Mason
lot
back.
of inconsistencies with this film, like specifically about how to get in and out of Silent Hill, because it's heavy on exposition of like you need this medallion thing to get into Silent Hill, but as soon as they arrive in this area, they're subject to all the Silent Hill
Yeah,
experiences. So I was like, so wait, but we haven't used the medallion yet. So how are we like needing the medallion to get in? That doesn't make any
and
sense.
there's
And
another.
also, yeah, Kit Harington like got branded with a
Yeah.
big the hot poker thing to get out of Silent Hill, but then there's people just walking in and out all the time.
Yeah, because
So yeah, like a
the
lot of
people who
inconsistencies.
end up as the nurses, don't they say something like, "Oh, we took a wrong turn, and now we're ending up in Silent Hill, getting turned into nurses."
Yeah.
Do
And
you know what I
then
mean?
yeah, the lady that got like
Yeah.
eaten by the wax loving weird headed spider thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she was like, I took a wrong turn. It's like, but
Yeah.
wait, but what? So why are you telling me I've got to use the seal of
Weird.
Megatron or whatever? Megaton.
Bloody
It's referencing
Megatron.
the
Crossover
no,
with
not
Transformers.
Megatron. What is that angel called? It's one of the archangels, isn't it? Megadon.
I can't remember.
I'm just
Oh,
saying words now. I'm just saying
Metatron.
Metatron. Yeah, he's an archangel
Yeah.
name. Yeah,
Okay,
so it
I got
does
you.
sound like a transformer. Hence the confusion.
Roll
But
out.
well, yeah,
Transformers
exactly.
versus Silent Hill.
But yeah, it's like it's so weird. Like they within the film, one of the things that makes it so chaotic is the establishment of rules for that film's narrative just seem all over the place.
Oh yeah,
So
they're
like
all over the
that is
place, and
all over the
nobody
place.
stops talking. Like the amount of exposition dump is
Oh no, it's
just
nuts.
horrific. Just like
Yeah.
nobody stops telling you exactly what's happening in this exact moment, just in case you didn't know. It's just crazy. And even things
Yeah.
like Pyramid Head is, I know if Head is in the first film, but like it feels like they've kind of just slung him there for some reason, and then he almost becomes like a. I know he's not really, but it's almost like he's helping them at some point. He's like
Yeah,
fighting
he's
one
not
of.
being a goodie. I didn't really
Yeah.
understand that. Like he becomes her sort of like bodyguard. I'm like, where'd that
Weird.
come from? Um, really strange. Yeah, really strange.
So,
Uh
in terms of like the setup for this is, so if you're familiar with the first film, there was a character called uh no wait, what was her
Rose?
name?
No.
Sharon. Her name was Sharon, wasn't
Oh,
it?
okay. Yeah, Rose was the mum.
Okay, so I think the Heather and the
Was
Harry are the fake names.
yes.
So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. At the
Sharon,
beginning, they like practice their names to each
yeah,
other at
that's
the
right.
beginning of this
We've
film.
been doing this for
Yeah.
years, but let's practice again just because we need to know. So at the end of the first film, when Rose got Sharon out of Silent Hill, she got like trapped
Yep.
there, and
Yep.
then oh God, and then Sean Bean, I'll just call him Sean Bean. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Call him Sean Beam. I mean, he's Harry. Like, I feel like that. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
Harry.
he has like been on the run with her. He's not told her essentially what happened in her past, but they're on the run from like the cult who are still trying to get them back to Silent Hill, get her back to Silent Hill. So he's like they're moving all over the country. They're always on the move, and she's
Yeah.
like going to different
And
schools all the time.
yeah, and Sharon slash Heather thinks that it's because he killed someone in self-defense and they're
Oh
on the
yeah,
run
because she
from the
did see that,
police.
didn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that she was told, and they're keeping up the sort of pretense of that. Like, well, Sean Bean is keeping up the pretense of that to protect her. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And
quite
what
clearly that isn't what is happening.
so not only has she got two identities, but what makes it even more confusing is that there's this side of her called Dark Alessa, who's the
Yeah,
tormenting daughter of that Dahlia Gillespie, who was like the cult
yeah,
leader in the first film.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so there's that version of her that's still kind of like inside her slash tormenting her slash plaguing her. And that opening scene we see of like the fairground, and again, this is like
yeah.
established visualization from the third game with the bunny rabbit and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know the teenage version of her, like with the with the goth makeup on. She's almost got like a little cat's nose painted on her nose, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
obviously
really
like
funny. It's like a shadow effect painted on.
yeah, but it
You see
does look
that in
like
like drag makeup and clown makeup actually.
yeah,
Like it's like where a shadow is painted on to sort of like contour the bottom of the
contour your
nose.
nose, yeah.
But it's just a really weird
It
choice. I
it
think
do-
a
it
lot
just
of the
looks like a little cat
styling is
nose. It looks like I think one of the members of Kiss, maybe the drummer, has got like a little cat face painted on, and she kind of looked
mm,
like him. Um, yes,
yeah.
there's a lot of stuff. So obviously, even in these dream sequences, there's a lot of stuff where the characters are just filling in the blanks for anyone who might have not remembered the first film, which is a lot of people apparently. Like I'm the dark version of you, and you can never get rid of me, and come back to Silent
Yeah.
Hill and all this stuff. It's all a bit silly. And even in the start, we get a one of my least favorite things in the film, Jem. I don't know how you feel about this. The double dream sequence, the
Oh
double
no,
wake up.
oh no, it's so lazy. It's so lazy. My thinking was that that whole beginning sequence was only exists because, well, one exposition, but more because the 3D. Because if you think like that's the
Yeah.
first
Okay, I
thing
got
you
you.
see, and if it's in 3D, it's like bam, 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 horror, 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 bad, bad, bad,
Mm.
stuff popping out at you, like, creepy fairground. um, but I I feel like that's partly why that sequence sort of goes on a bit, because I think they're trying to build that 3D
Yeah.
moment of like, oh, okay, it was just a dream. Oh God, we're again. Oh, okay, it
Oh
was
no,
just a
my
dream.
dad's been stabbed as well.
Yeah,
Oh.
everyone's dead.
I'd absolutely
Yeah,
love Sean Bean to just be from Yorkshire in this. It would be fantastic.
I know he should have been. Bless
Should
him.
have
He
been,
tries
yeah.
so hard with his accent. He really does, and he actually kept his up.
Is
He
it
did travel.
is
He
it
did
something with
travel
Sean?
around the States, but he did keep it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it something with Sean Bean? I always feel like with like UK audiences, we're so used to hearing him with his accent that when you start hearing him with an American accent, so easy to pick it apart in your head.
Yeah, I think that happens with familiarity. Like you're just used to sort of the cadence and rhythms of a well-known voice, aren't you? So
Yeah.
yeah, it is easy, but I don't know, he's not known for being like an accent wizard.
An
I
accent wizard.
don't
Oh,
really, I don't
Sean
really know.
Bean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's always
The
playing.
accent wizard. He can magic an accent.
He's always
Um,
played an
yeah, he's
American
not like
guy.
he's not Kate Blanchett, he's not like
He's just
oh
known
goodness.
for always dying in films, right? And he goes for a fake death in this moment. Um,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah.
ends up again another character who seems to be like essentially written out of the film by being like kidnapped or he's not in what probably like 75% of the film
Yeah,
because
and maybe that was his choice.
yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
just don't know.
You need
He
me
might
for
have
this
been like,
one?
yeah, don't love it. Keep me out of most
Yeah.
of it. I don't know. Or maybe he's just not I don't know Silent Hill 3 that well, so I don't know how integral his character is to the plot of that. Or is he always,
I don't even I kind of want to
is
say
he in it? Is he
not in
being
it at all.
rescued?
I kind
Like,
of want to say not in it at all, but I don't
it's
again
more
it's been a
about
few
her
years.
journey. Yeah. I mean,
Um so yeah, obviously he says that Rose died in a car crash,
mm,
but obviously she's like trapped in Silent Hill. Um she was able to free Heather from the fog world using one half of that talisman, but she remained trapped in Silent Hill. Yeah, because essentially the end of Silent Hill, she goes home, doesn't she? But then she realizes, oh, actually, I am home, but I'm still bloody trapped in Silent Hill,
in Silent Hill, yeah, yeah.
and he's just in
So
like a different reality. Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Um
So yeah, then we get the scene which establishes Heather's outfit from the game, which is hang on a minute, she's not wearing the same outfit she was in the game. Oh, don't worry, Sean Bean's bought her a present.
Happy birthday, Sharon.
Happy birthday is like some weird, like what is it? Like a
Gilet.
gilet. Yeah,
A
that's what I was
white
gonna say.
gilet. It's a white gilet that when she puts it on over the red hoodie, you're like, oh, really? Okay, well, that's what we're
There we
doing.
go.
Okay.
She uh she goes to a new school where she meets Vincent Cooper, played by Kit Harington. He's new at school as well. She has to introduce herself, and she does. To be fair, if someone you're in school with, even if they were new, if they introduce themselves like this, you would be like, "Oh my God, get over yourself."
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, I'm not going to learn your name, and you're not going to learn mine. I don't care about anything. Just leave me alone.
I've moved 11 times in 7 years, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that
Wait,
was a
and,
kind of, it
but
was just a painfully embarrassing scene. That was
it
it
was
just
embarrassing, wasn't it? Yeah. Because even
um
someone says, "Can anyone got any questions?" She's like, "Do you get all your clothes from Goodwill?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, 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 great."
yeah,
I'd love it if she just like leapt over her and just start beating her up.
smashing people up.
That would have been funny.
Um, yeah, and then the school day is very short, and then on the way into school and then on the way out of school, she encounters a creepy man
Oh
who
yeah,
is just sort of lingering, loitering
asking a lot of
around and staring
questions.
at her and asking questions. Um, and thinks she's being followed, doesn't she? So calls her dad,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "No, you're all right, but we'll meet in the mall outside some kind of burger joint."
Burger place. Yeah, I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. Um,
Meanwhile, on that
he,
call, he sees his own front door being rattled from the outside.
yeah.
Someone trying to get in. Um, yeah,
And he opens the door and we just get like kind of like a shadow like envelop him and he kind of just goes,
yeah.
oh, oh no. He had a dream sequence of his own as well where he saw Rose like in the mirror and like she was
Yeah.
basically saying, oh, I ain't got much time, but just to let you know, you've got a I can't really remember what she said, but he was like,
She
"Oh,
says
well,
keep her away, like
keep
don't
her
let her
away."
them
Yeah,
take her back. And then
and he
it
was,
kind of does a weird time jump where then he's on the sofa with his daughter at the point when, like, it does a flashback at that point where
oh
he's like
yeah,
suddenly in a different outfit with less, like his hair's a bit darker,
they
just to let us know. Because I was like, what the
put,
fuck is
put a
that?
bit of Just for Men on his
And
head.
then there's like child actor in a really bad black wig and
It's not the
laying
same.
on
It's
the
not the same
sofa.
child actress from the first film.
No,
That's why.
it's
It's been
not.
like 6 years
It's
as
like a
well. So like,
bad black wig, like that someone hasn't even brushed, and it's like, and she's like, "Daddy, mommy, where's mommy?" And then he's like, "She's not coming back," and she's like,
she's not
"No,
coming
mommy."
back. I'm afraid she's stuck in a fog world. Sorry, I mean
Yeah,
she's had a car accident. Unfortunately, you can't get away with just telling people that their mum's stuck in a fog world because
I
they'll ask
know.
questions.
So yeah,
Uh,
that all happens. Yeah, and
yeah.
then
So yeah,
Sean Bean can't turn up to rendezvous because he's been kidnapped.
yeah,
And so she's
devastated.
sat there at the burger joint, and then nightmares start kind of invading her, like, reality.
Yeah, again, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because in terms of the rules of Silent Hill, you kind of think you get drawn to this place and then the nightmares start happening. The fact that the nightmares are kind of like invading her everyday life and almost like the mall has
Yeah.
got like this side of it, this other world. Um, is it so obviously this the guy who the creepy guy who's following her says he's a private detective hired by the order to find her. But when he discovers who his clients really were, now he's trying to help her. All right. Don't worry about it. That's apparently. And then this monster is apparently called the Missionary. And how could you describe this monster? It's got like saw blades
Oh,
in its
it's
head for
yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
It's all
Uh,
it's all a bit
Torture
nuts.
porn. But this is where it's
Yeah.
all very Clive Barker and Hellraiser, because it's just gone from like creepy, uneasy tone into sort of torture porn
Yeah.
baddies.
Yeah, and
Um,
yeah, I know
in
it does
bondage
kind of look
wear,
like that.
just kind of bondage wear,
Yeah.
like just
It's incredibly
it's
Hellraiser, absolutely. Um,
yeah,
and she's like trying to get away, and then how does it? Oh, he first of all cuts his fingers off. A lovely. That's obviously. I'm guessing that was a 3D
oh yeah,
shot as well.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, my
fingers flying out
fingers.
into the audience.
Um, and then he just gets killed, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah, yeah. He's dead, and
And
then somehow I don't remember this happening, but somehow he's got her jacket or something. Like her jacket comes off, and then
yeah,
the cops, who have a really weird
yeah,
part to play in this film, don't ever appear again after a certain point. They're like, "Oh,
true.
we're looking for this person," and it's like her stuff and her
Yeah,
identity and her coat. And I don't remember her coat coming off. Like, I'm sure
no,
it does, but like I just don't remember that. So I was like, what?
yeah, it's kind of weird.
Um,
It's
and
kind
the
of
cop
adding a
thread is weird, like
yeah, it's
because they
adding a
don't
plot
really
line.
do anything.
They don't go anywhere with it. The police don't like hunt her down or anything like that. Um, Vincent is hanging about a lot. He's well into her. He's like, "Oh, can we go for a coffee? We got to go to class." And he's like, "Not now, later on, after
Yeah.
after class." And then he's like following her around and stuff. And obviously, I don't know, it's a little bit suspicious, isn't it? Um,
Yeah, and then happens to be there when she's run out of the mall and realizes she's got to be on the
yeah,
run and her dad's not turning up. Oh, come, yeah, all right, well, I'll help you.
yeah.
Um,
He
yeah,
he takes her
it's
home. She goes inside, and that is when I can't remember what
blood on the
happens.
walls.
Blood on the
She
walls.
opens
Yeah,
the door and she's like, "Dad, Dad," like turns around and there's that kind of medallion shape on the wall
yeah,
in blood, and her dad's gone, and then she's like, "Dad." And then magically Kit Harington with his supersonic hearing turns up and
yeah.
is like, "Even though I was down the street when you went into your house, I heard you and I just
I
wanted
wanted
to
to,
see if you were okay."
just came back to see if you're okay. It's fine. I'm definitely not involved with the order at
No,
all.
that's not,
Wink, wink.
no, no.
There's like
Um,
there's a message basically instructs Heather to go to Silent Hill.
yeah.
I'll be like, I don't know
And
where to
then they
start. Where
bust
do I go?
out, yeah, exactly. They bust out the suspiciously engraved wooden box that Sean
Mm.
Bean's been keeping hidden from her. Um, there's no like, there's no fallout for the fact that he nicks pages of her sketchbook and hides them away.
Oh,
like early on,
Yeah.
she's like sketching, and then he like finds it when she goes to school, and he rips it out and hides it in this box. And then when she opens the box and sees it again, she's not like,
Sketches.
oh, that's where those pages have been
No, she's
going.
just like, oh yeah. She
She's
goes,
just like, oh, here's some stuff about Silent Hill.
he's been
Your
drawing
dad's
these as
been
well.
nicking stuff
Yeah.
out of your diary. It's just so weird. And somehow in that box, they discover how to get to Silent Hill, even though it's just not explicit at all. There's a medallion,
There's just a
there's a
lot of
newspaper
things.
cutting.
These things work all right in a game, don't they? Because like you find a thing, you find a newspaper cut, and
You
you find a
read it.
letter, you kind of
Yeah.
know where you got to go. That's fine. But I think in a film, it's so like
Mhm.
it's almost too on the nose, isn't it? To be
It
able
is
to,
that is exactly how I would summarize it. It's
yeah,
so on the nose. It's not rekindling the same sensation of when you're playing a survival horror and you're discovering stuff. It just
mm,
does not like hit the same beats for you as a viewer as it does when you're a player,
yeah,
because it's just like being all shoved down your throat at once. And there's
yeah.
just too much lore. Like they're putting too much lore into this. It's a very
Way too
short
much
film. It's
lore.
like 90 something minutes. So it's like there's too much lore. And like I said earlier, like the film doesn't even obey its own like
No.
rules
It's like it's
within that
just bogged
lore.
down with like trying to package this lore in a way that we can easily understand, which is pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
Instead of actually having a story like the film.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
problem,
Like
really.
instead of like taking one bit of inspiration from like the game is very heavy in lore actually. Like when you look at
Hmm.
the source material, there's a lot there. There's probably too much there, but because you experience it gradually, it doesn't overwhelm you. But then with the film, it's like take the one thing and just go with that one
Yeah.
thing, and the other stuff is can be Easter eggs, we can
Hmm.
see things in the background, like there can be a character in passing. It's a little Easter egg if you're a hardcore fan, but like don't make the whole film
Yeah.
it's just yeah, you said it right as well. It's exposition heavy, and then you're not invested in any of the characters. Like I
Honestly,
literally couldn't give a shit
yeah.
about Sharon
No,
or Kit Harrington
I
or
kind of
Sean Bean.
dislike
I
them
was like,
both, to be fair. I'm
I've
just
got
like,
no
yeah,
you don't get a chance to get to like them, so you just don't
no.
care.
Because she's like supposed to be this sort of like standoffish, kind of like emotionally cold sort of person. Um, but I don't know, like there's not even like much of a like connection between those two characters. Like it's established quite early on that I've been lying to you this whole time. I'm actually this. But there's so many characters, like for example, him, but also the private detective who were like, I am actually on the other side, but I'm getting to know you. I've got to know you within 4 seconds of meeting you, and I've decided actually I'm going to help you. There's a lot of that, which is kind of
Yeah,
just not
yeah, yeah,
believable, is
which
it
is so
really?
forced and not
Like the
believable.
reveal of
Um,
him being part of the order could have been a massive reveal, but he kind of just tells her when they're staying at a
yeah.
motel.
Oh, look, by the way, part of the order.
Yeah, like if he
It's
was just there the whole film, like trying to help her, or like he's been taken along for the ride, and then there's a big reveal right at the end that actually, you know what, I am part of the order, and I was the one who got you here. Ha ha ha. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. You don't need the mum character really. I know they're trying to kind of echo, the what's happened before, but
yeah,
you sort of don't need, like if he was that character, it would be so much more effective,
yeah.
because then
It's
like yeah, as you say, he becomes a kind of hero, and then what?
yeah,
Here I am, I'm evil. um there's too many characters in this as well. There's just
yeah.
too many characters,
Because
like
the character, Carrie-Anne Moss, I kind of was like, this is a bit strange because if she's supposed to be the leader of the order and she's like carrying on the work of her sister or whatever, I was like, where was she in the first film then?
yeah.
Just couldn't be
And
bothered.
that character is almost identical to the character from the first game.
Exactly.
Like
Just like
she looks
monologuing.
exactly the same. Like
Yeah.
I've just played that game again effectively, and like she looks exactly the same. And I'm like, but I don't understand where this comes into now, this bit of the plot.
They even put like the
So,
mum of a lesser woman in it as well, don't they? Very briefly. And they have some kind of like flashbacks of that as well. That kind of felt like it went nowhere as well because Heather just meets
yeah, because
her.
I was confused because I thought she was the mum of Valessa. Like she is in the game, the mum of Valessa, that character. I
Yeah.
forgot her first name. It's a flower, something Gillespie. Is it flower?
Yeah.
No,
So Dahlia? Dahlia?
Dahlia is a flower. Yeah, Dahlia
Is a flower,
Gillespie.
yeah.
Yeah, she's in the game. She's the mum, I
Yeah.
thought she was the mum in this as well, but it was
I think she was
confusing
the
because
mum, yeah.
she's also Kit Harington's mum. I'm so confused.
Oh no, so
No,
Kit Harington's mum was the
no, no, no,
Carrie-Anne
no, no.
Moss
Yes,
woman.
sorry.
The
They
mother
look the
was
same.
like,
This is
they
why.
do look
Yeah, you
similar.
did
I know
see
what
the
you
mother.
mean.
She's got a headscarf on.
Got a
But
headscarf on.
Carrie-Anne
She's all
Moss's
like,
character looks like the same character.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
visual design, the white hair, the weird, the monologuing. Yes,
yeah.
okay, that's why I was confused
And it's
because
just like,
too many characters, not
in
enough
terms too many
differentiation. Yeah.
characters, too much lore. Every piece of dialogue is just a huge exposition dump. You know,
Yeah.
this person's telling
Yeah.
us what's happened before, what's happening next, how they feel in that situation. Just too much. It's just all it's all very very
It is a
heavy-handed, isn't it?
mess. It's a mess. And like as soon as they get to Silent Hill, it just there is no story anymore. Like she's just
No.
going from one place to another
Yeah.
saying, "Where's my dad?" and,
Where's
and
my
then there's
bloody
just a
dad?
bunch of hellish what's the word?
Ab-
Aberrations. That's the word I was.
Aberrations, yes.
There's just a
Hellish.
bunch of hellish aberrations just like wandering about,
Hellish
and the
aberrations
walls
everywhere.
keep
Everywhere I look.
yeah.
I can't have 5 minutes to
Everywhere
myself. I just want 5 minutes to relax, chill out. We need a save room in this film, just like somewhere you can go
Yeah,
and just
a safe
sit
room
down.
where you can just be normal and
It's all
like
too much. Like you'd be
actually.
sat there like that, and then suddenly the wallpaper start turning brown. You're like, oh, for
At one
Jesus.
point, a character says something like, "It shouldn't be dark yet," or something, and you're like, "Oh wait, is this meant to be doing the night and day mechanic?" Like
Yeah.
what? Or no, yeah, Kit Harington says the darkness should have faded by now, or something. And you're like, "Is this meant to be the night day mechanic?" Because at no point have we actually seen that
I
happen.
I
Like she
think,
just right at the beginning, she just goes, "The darkness is coming. It's safer to be inside." But you
yeah,
never get that sense of
no.
like in the game, it's like snow and kind of a murky daylight,
Mm.
and then it's like very different when you're like it's
Like
like
completely dark,
completely
rusty.
dark, yeah, and everything's rusty.
Yeah.
Whereas in this again, it's like they're kind of establishing rules but not following
In
those
the
rules. It's
in the
just
first
weird.
film, that transition from daylight to the darkness is really good. I kind of
Mm,
I like that. Just like the paint kind of like flaking off of the wall, but kind of like fading upwards. Like
mm.
I think it's pretty good. And yeah,
And this
and
time it's
again,
just all over the place.
Pyramid Head's just kind of there. There's not really any real meaning to him. Like he's kind of just there to, I don't know, torture people. Do you remember that bit in the first film where he like rips someone's skin off in one go?
Oh, well, like like skinning a
Yeah.
rabbit. Yeah. Just a bit
Like her skin was velcroed on, and he's just gone right.
there's a moment in this film where someone is I think it's even before she gets to Silent Hill when she's kind of got that weird nightmare sequence in the wall, and like there's a guy just like chopping off a bit of someone's stomach and then putting it in a frying pan. Do you remember that bit?
Was that in this film?
Yeah, in this film.
But oh
Like
yeah, no, I
it's
remember.
just
He's like
it's like a sequence, and there's a guy like
they're
frying
hanging upside
burgers, but
down
it's yeah, and they're hanging upside
like a
down. But that was
kebab.
just the worst bit of like body horror uh makeup.
But
Like it
also,
just
I was
doesn't, the effect, it's just like I can see that is like a bit of silicone.
yeah.
It just
But
doesn't,
also, that didn't
it's
feel
just so
like that
stupid.
doesn't feel Silent Hill to me. When I see
No,
that,
it
I
doesn't.
think
No, it's not creepy.
Hellraiser or not even Hellraiser. I just
Yeah,
feel like that's too on the nose. There's loads of horrible, messed up stuff happening in hell. Oh yeah, we've got a man hanging upside down here, and someone's chopping him up like he's a kebab, like just taking
yeah,
little
yeah,
slivers of
yeah,
him,
yeah.
chucking it with some
Yeah.
chili sauce.
But that is like once they're in Silent Hill, like everything is like that. Everything is like there's
Yeah,
there's faces under a grill that she walks over, or
it
just going
reminds faces. It reminds
like,
me of um like a sort of horror experience that you walk through. Do you know what I mean? Where there are
yeah, exactly.
actors
Immersive experience.
like made up to look, oh, this is horrible in here. What's going on? People are cutting people up.
Yeah.
There's people just like trapped. It just looks like that. It looks all a bit silly. Um,
Yeah. So they've lost that sort of charm of the sort of spookiness of the games. Like
yeah, the
the
spookiness, but like it's proper otherworldly where you're just like,
yeah.
it's so strange. I don't really know what to do or where to go, and like the feeling you get in the game. But this is kind of, it feels like a fairground attraction.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a really yeah, or like a theme park zone,
yeah,
like when yeah, it's all of that stuff, isn't it?
yeah,
Um
not great.
yeah.
exactly. I think once we're in Silent Hill, it does get a bit messy, as you mentioned. I think Vincent takes no wait, I'm reading the wrong bit.
No, Vincent, so they get into Silent Hill, and Vincent has been taken meanwhile. So she gets into Silent Hill. Vincent's been taken
Yeah.
and called a traitor and sentenced to attend the asylum in order to get better.
Yeah.
Again, a strange assertion being that by all accounts they just get bits of their bodies chopped off in the asylum. So I'm not quite sure how
Yeah.
that's getting better.
And obviously he's always talking about his grandfather Leonard, who apparently has
Yeah.
got the other half of the seal of Metatron.
Tells her to
Um,
go and find Leonard. Oh yeah, that's it. They encounter some baddies when they're together when they first get there, and he's like, "I'll
mm,
create a diversion." So
yeah,
and then gets captured, and she
that's right.
goes ahead and he says, "Find Leonard, but it'll be dangerous." And then off she goes. So she makes for the asylum,
Mm.
um,
Yeah, this
which
is weird. This is all weird. Obviously, yeah, we see all the stuff in the asylum. When she finds Leonard, it's weird because I kind of thought Leonard was like he'd been put in this asylum for being. I thought he'd be helpful in some way, but if
yeah, that's
anything,
what I thought as
if
well.
if anything, he's just
Yeah,
like, oh, he says like, oh yeah, Vincent's a traitor, and just yeah, and
yeah.
the only thing
And then
interesting he
turns
says is
into a demon.
then he turns into a demon. When he grabs her as well, there's an annoying thing where he says something to her and she's like, not today, and like shoots him. It's just really
Oh
strange.
no,
Someone
it's
who's
just
like
so
clearly never committed any act of violence, real act of violence in their life, is suddenly shooting a man in the face, no questions
yeah,
asked. And
yeah.
quipping as well. Not
Yeah,
today. Bang.
I know, and that makes her even less likable actually, because
Yeah,
she hasn't earned that sassiness. Like you've just not seen her earn
exactly.
anything.
No way.
Um, but I think Malcolm McDowell is having a great day. I think
Yeah.
this is when I see Malcolm McDowell in these roles, I'm like, he's living his best life right now. He gets to just like put on some gross makeup and
Yeah.
rock up on set and be like, "Hi everyone, I'm about to do some very theatrical,
Yeah.
ridiculous, nasty acting," and you can tell he's loving it. He's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, "Well, girl, come here, let me touch you. I am blind, don't you know?" He's just he's living his
I
best
think
life.
he adds a certain something to every role he's in, even in films like this. So he's
Yeah, for
appreciated.
sure. I know, definitely. I love him. I think he's great.
She gets like
Um,
knocked out, carried off, and when she regains consciousness, it says she grabs the amulet from within his body, killing Let. What kind of thing did he turn into? I can't even
she doesn't
remember.
get knocked out. Where does it say she got knocked out?
Oh right, so
He
knocked out and carried off.
basically she
Hmm. What kind of thing does he turn into there?
so she shoots him and then he kind of like no, wait, hang on. Let me get this right. So he grabs the amulet thing off of her and then stuffs it into his own chest. And
Yeah.
then when he does that, he becomes what he really is. He reveals his true self. And
Mm.
like he's like a demon thing. And then oh yeah, she does get knocked out. Yeah, I think she tries to like shoot him and then he grabs her and slings her over his shoulder, but
Mm.
she's awake because she then
Yeah.
like she's like trying to get away and then sees all like the arms and everything reaching, right? And then she
Mm.
like is like, aha, you've got a big convenient hole in your chest. I'm just going to reach in and grab the thing you put
Yeah.
in there,
And kills
just
him.
conveniently right by her arm. And she's just like, and then he
There we
just
go. Very
dissolves into
nice.
dust and he's gone and she's got it and she's like, haha, I've got it now.
This is my problem with this, right? So it says she summons Pyramid Head, the entity created to protect Alessa. Really? I didn't remember that from the first film. Created to protect Alessa. So it's like almost like protecting her in this
But
film.
then why is Pyramid Head also just going up and down chopping arms off people?
Yeah, I
Is
know.
that him trying to protect her? Because
Maybe.
people are trying to grab her and then he chops all their hands off.
Yeah. Well, this is what it says on Wikipedia. Who knows that's
Okay.
correct? But
Okay. And
I
maybe it
never
is.
I never thought of Pyramid Head as that, It was almost like it was an extension of like a certain character's like guilt essentially, wasn't it, originally? And it was
Yeah.
like that guilt was following him. Um and the fact that they've essentially created it into and made it into like What, the
Alessa's
Terminator?
bodyguard.
Alessa's bodyguard, Kevin
I
Costner.
guess that makes sense in some ways of what happens at the end, because there's a point when she like joins with Alessa. I mean, we're about to get to that bit, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, she
yeah.
kind of
She, I think she witnesses like from afar, witnesses Vincent being taken away by the
yeah
Order and deemed insane by Claudia for betraying them. I was a bit confused by the betraying bit because surely he was tasked to go and get her and bring her back, and he did.
yeah
What's the
yeah.
betraying bit?
I
Is
don't
that he
really
decides
understand.
he likes her now? I don't know.
Yeah, because I think she's like, he did do his job, so we're not going to kill you, but we are going to stick you in the asylum. And then what I didn't get is that the people taking him into the asylum then themselves get killed by the weird nurses. And I was like,
Yeah, I was confused by that.
what? Like, what? Who
Almost
is
like the
running
Order,
this?
the Order is not like in control of the entities in Silent Hill for some reason. Silent Hill is still, which is weird because why would you like collect people and get them turned into nurses if they were then gonna
Yeah,
stab you up? Um,
exactly.
when
And
the, when
also
the
there's a weird thing where some of them, like the, what do they say, like the most devoted ones wear masks because they think the air pollutes them. But then when the mask gets ripped off, it actually does turn them into the thing, but like everyone else is fine breathing the air.
it doesn't no, it doesn't
Nothing
make
makes
sense.
sense.
You're the most
Nothing
devoted
makes
one wearing a
sense.
mask. I'm just breathing the air. It's fine. Um, that
Just
when we see the nurses getting created, I can't remember where it is in the timeline of this, but obviously it's just people who have wandered into Silent Hill, got lost, been stripped completely naked for some reason, put on a slab, and then they're slowly turning into these
the
nurse
wax thing.
wax
No,
thing.
that's like a whole other thing. Like
Oh, it's
that
a
was a
whole other
wax
thing.
thing. Yeah,
Too
again,
much.
too much stuff.
Too
That
much.
the naked people when she first goes into the building and
That's
they're
right.
all like mannequins, they're all like wax
That's right. Yeah.
mannequins. And like the heads of it seemingly are being used by this weird spider creature to add
Hmm.
itself more
I,
heads.
it's very like shiny
Don't get it.
CGI, but I don't mind the design of this, and I kind of like the sort of like plastic wrap, shrink wrap, spider web thing.
Yeah.
I think that's quite interesting as a
It is
as a
quite
as a
interesting. It's
visual
quite
thing.
cool. It's just on top of everything else, it's just too much.
Yeah,
It's
and
like
it's
I feel
like
like they just need to pick one aesthetic and stick with it.
yeah,
Because otherwise, I mean, what we have is what we have, which is just that this is just a
mm.
chaotic mess,
I mean,
and none of it is consequential. Like at no point are you, like as a viewer, feeling any threat because everything is just like grubby theme park. Like everything's a
yeah,
grubby area in a theme park slash London dungeon type set. Do you know what I mean? It's like exactly what you said, the
yeah,
immersive experience thing, where it's like
because
everything's grubby, so then the grubby stuff doesn't have any effect,
no, it
you
doesn't.
know?
It's not like you're going, oh my God, I can't believe what
Yeah.
I can't believe this. It's just we've seen it. Heather, it says here Heather saves Vincent and they go to the lakeside amusement park. She just like unties him and runs away with him, right?
Yeah, basically I didn't quite understand. They're triggered by sound, which I think is a throwback to some enemy types in the game, which are triggered by like movement and lights.
Mm,
There's some sections of the game where if you turn your light off, certainly in the
yeah.
first game, you can get past enemies. Obviously, you can't see much, so you've got to be careful. But like, yeah,
Mm,
there's things like that. So I think it was. I don't know if again, I don't know three very well at all.
yeah.
So I don't know if it is from there. That's a thing where sound triggers them. But it reminded me a bit of a section in Little Nightmares actually, where like every time you move, we played Little Nightmares too. There's a
Played the
section
first
where
one.
every time you move, yeah, this is in two. I think they're hands. I can't remember what they are. Maybe they are kind of like little mannequins as well. They're like body parts.
Yeah.
They kind of every time you move, they move. So you've got to be really strategic.
Oh, I see.
It reminded me of that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
which when you're playing a game is like really
Yeah.
tense and you're like, oh, fuck, you've got to be really strategic and it's very stressful. But in this, it just sort of doesn't work. And
There was a bit like
somehow,
that in the first film as well, and there where they're trying to sneak past the nurses, and if you make
oh
any things,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
they like
yeah.
swing for them, and like people are getting like sliced by the knife a little bit, like just
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
inch
yeah.
closer.
But this
Um,
is weird because it's so stagey. Like it's so
yeah.
stagey the way they move and stuff. They're not scary. They
I
just
think
kind
it's
of
just
look
one of
like
those films like, you know when you're watching a film, you're like, I don't really know what the consequences are of anything. I don't understand
Yeah,
what's gonna happen. What's the terrible thing that's gonna happen to these characters if they get caught or something like that. I don't feel the threat from the Order. I
no,
don't feel the threat necessarily from Silent Hill. I don't know where the Order and Silent Hill meet, whether they're collaborators or whether they're literally just two separate entities who are like
yeah,
kind of fighting against each other in this world. And then where does like Dark Alessa fit into it? Because when we get to the amusement park, and we see Dark Alessa like essentially confront it. It says confronting Heather, but for some reason, the way Heather beats her just goes, "I'm gonna give you a
gives her a
big
hug.
hug. I'm gonna give
I
you a big
know.
hug."
Let's join ourselves back
No.
together. Yeah, I didn't really get that either. And like the whole lesser story is really sad, actually.
Mm,
Like it's really sad.
yeah.
And I feel like that's a story to dig into a bit more rather than her just being sort of incidental.
Yeah, I feel like in this film, it's kind of like a leftover plot thread from the
Yeah,
first film, and I
yeah,
maybe think maybe we don't need it as much.
yeah,
I feel like Heather should have just been a different character in this film. We should just had a new character, and we're kind of exploring her trauma and maybe some other
yeah,
things, and Silent Hill was a manifestation of that visually,
yeah.
and I don't
Yeah,
know. I
that
feel
would have
like
been much cleaner for a narrative, like definitely, than what
mm,
is here. Because you've then got this sort of like character who again, and this is actually like having just like kind of gone through the first game again, this is a bit muddy in this source material as well. Like
yeah,
the actual origins of Alessa's like demonic personality, let's say, are a bit muddy in the source
mm,
material in that it's not quite clear
yeah,
if the power grabbing, the power hungry adults um made her into the demon or whether she was already like showing signs
yeah,
of demonic power and then they were trying to harness it. But I think in the first game it does very much come off that the adults have caused her to be that way
yeah.
because they want to harness that power, and then they've kind of like had to sort of
Mm.
torture her in some way to get that. um but yeah, it's like a muddy story to start with, and then they've this film has made it even muddier, and
Trying to
then
make sense of it is pretty difficult, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, it's just weird. And then yeah, she hugs her, and then
Like
why doesn't what
they
I didn't
become one. I don't
understand,
know.
they become one, but I didn't understand why, if Heather or Sharon is just her soul, like her goodness, why doesn't she go into the more complete person rather than the other
Yeah,
way around?
yeah,
Like I
that's
just
true.
didn't, I was like, I thought she would hug her and then she would go into Dark Alessa and then
Mm,
Dark Alessa would have some goodness.
yeah.
Like that would have been
I
my
mean,
logic.
they do keep make it like Heather's the good part of you. She's the goody two shoes, and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It
I
didn't
don't
make me
know.
like Heather anymore. Um,
No.
so then we get to like a big like the final scene, I guess, the confrontation where
Yeah.
Christopher and Vincent um are being held hostage. I got confused by Christopher then, but that's Sean Bean.
Oh, is his name
Wait,
Chris? Oh yeah. Wait.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's
Well, it
not.
says
Is it?
tell you what, this wiki. I think this wiki's been written by
Because in
the
the Christopher's the name of the director. I thought his name was Harry.
Christopher da Silva. Harry Mason, I think, is the fake name. Christopher da
Oh,
Silva
it's
is
the
the real
fake
name.
name. Yeah, yeah. He goes
Yeah,
by Harry for most of this,
yeah,
which is
yeah. Okay,
obviously then the name
yeah.
from the first
Again,
game. Yeah. Okay. Right. Right.
again, confusing. I think. Imagine if
Yeah.
you're watching this
Just
film and you hadn't seen the first one, you haven't played any games. You're about to follow anything. You'd just be like,
what?
"What on
Yeah.
earth is going
What the
on?"
hell is going on? Yeah. Yeah. So he's been held hostage by a big sort of
Yeah,
face thing,
big old
which is
face
like a
thing.
statue, but looks like it's going to come alive and then never
Mm.
does. Strange.
Um,
Um.
and then we get and a real big a bit of exposition dump from Claudia Wolf, Carrie-Anne Moss. Alessa's destiny was to be the incubator for a deity worshipped by the order, who would punish all sinners upon its birth. I mean, again, yeah, there's a lot of religious symbolism and stuff here as well, aren't there?
Mhm.
Completing Heather's destiny as well. Very confusing. Imagine
Yeah.
developing this plan. Right, you're that deity we all like, yeah. Got a great idea. Okay, we're gonna We're gonna get some little girl. She's gonna be incubator for a deity. It's gonna punish all sinners upon his birth. And then Heather, who's like half Alessa, the good half, complete that person's destiny as well. Brilliant. It's
I
just
just
so
don't get
confusing.
like what so like the way this story set up is like burning Alessa in the first place. Like that just created the bad stuff. So like why
Yeah,
did they do that? I just don't understand why they burnt her.
yeah.
It
It
just
just
doesn't
create it
make any
essentially created
sense.
Silent Hill, didn't
If
it?
you yeah, but like yeah, it's just so
Uh,
confusing. It's
it
so
says
confusing.
it says here, Heather gives Claudia the seal of Metatron, which reveals her to be the missionary, which we saw earlier. Heather then summons Pyramid Head, who goes one-on-one with the missionary. Big bad fight. This is Alien versus Predator.
Yeah,
Not as big as
this
that,
is one of
obviously.
the worst and most boring fights I've ever seen in any film.
Yeah,
It's so boring. Like,
yeah. I just
I
didn't
just didn't.
really care.
Also, the two characters you've just met in that scene, basically. I know you briefly see
Mm.
the
And there's kind of a weird bit where Vincent's like looking
other
back as if to
characters again.
say, "That's my mum," the missionary fighting. And when he sees her get her head like sliced off, I was kind of thinking we'd maybe see a little shot of him going like, "Oh, I know my mum was obviously troubled, but my mum's just had been decapitated in front of me." But he's just like, couldn't give a shit, to be fair.
I know, and I also don't understand. Like, if she is that when she holds a medallion, then what is he when he holds a medallion? Like, are they all transforming when they hold the medallion? Like, no, what's going
I
on?
almost feel like the medallion stuff. I know it's just a MacGuffin. It's just one of those things that we just need a thing to be able to be the
Need a
source of
thing.
something,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
we all
there's
need it.
medallions in the game, so they were just like, "Oh, let's whack some
Yeah,
medallions
let's
in."
whack a
Like,
medallion in there.
yeah, let's
Why
just
not?
whack it in there.
Um,
Yeah. So then Pyramid Head gets a blade straight in the pyramid, kind of
mm,
slowly
yeah,
slicing through his whatever his head is under there, and then he kicks some more ass and defeats her,
yeah,
and then kind of walks off, just dragging his blade along the floor.
yeah. It's
Which
ever
is
so
one of
heavy.
those like B movie horror tropes, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like the blade dragging
yeah.
across the floor.
I might
And
just
it's
get a
just like,
smaller blade that I can easily
yeah,
wield and not
just
have to drag along the
exactly.
floor.
And
Um,
then that's it. And
that's
all of
it.
that jeopardy is resolved.
They
It's
escape.
magic.
They escape as they're walking away. Also, what is Kit Harington wearing in this film? It's just like a waistcoat constantly, isn't it? It's just like I don't know why
He
I find
gives
it
her
funny.
his coat. He gives her his coat, and then underneath it, he magically has like this
Little
weird little
waistcoat.
semi-smart outfit.
As they're trying to
Yes.
leave, Sean Bean's like, I'm gonna have to stay and look for Rose. She's gonna be here somewhere. Oh, Jesus. I'd be like, come home for a bit, rest and relax and recuperate, then come back to Silent Hill to look for Rose because
Yeah.
currently we've been all
I
been
mean,
through a
I'm
lot of stress.
assuming that is setting up the third installation, but I know that the next film is departing hopefully
Yeah.
from this.
Well, maybe
But
that's the thing.
that
Maybe
is that
they
that was
wanted to
them
do
safeguarding. Oops, sorry, I've knocked everything. Safeguarding, we might be able to come back
yeah.
because Scene Bean is
And
still
you know
there.
what? Sean Bean leading a Silent Hill movie. I'd be up for it. Why not?
Yeah.
But it didn't happen,
Um,
unfortunately. Um,
no,
they they essentially, and again, how do you escape Silent Hill? Just walk out. It's
just walk
fine.
out.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
They get picked up.
Um, by a guy whose name is
Yeah,
something from one of the games, right?
Travis
It's
Grady.
who I'm sure he's in one of the game. I was like
He is the
that
player
name seems.
character from Silent Hill Origins.
There you go. Boom.
Truck driver with a traumatic childhood, it says here.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go.
so yeah, doesn't he say, I'm Travis? Does he say like his full name? Does he
Yeah,
full
he
name
says his
them?
name, and I was like, I know that name. That's from one of the other games.
I'm Travis Grady. And
Yeah,
it's the Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the TV meme all over
yeah, it's
again.
that. Yeah,
And then yeah, they go, "What's your name?" And she goes, "Sharon."
yeah.
And I'd be like, "That's good. It's gonna be
I'm
difficult to get your
free
head around
now.
that."
I know. Yeah, I'm free
And
now. Um,
they drive
yeah.
off, but then we see like some police cars, and is it a prisoner transport entering the world of Silent Hill? And there's a shot, obviously, where it pans around
Yeah.
the sign, and we go from like normal world to fog world.
Silent
So
Hill. Yeah. So the police cars, I'm assuming, are the cops that like were establishing some kind of storyline that we never saw again, and then
mm,
they are driving into Silent Hill, because
Yeah.
the last time we see the cops are when they look at the wall, the blood on the wall, and they're like, "You wanted probable cause." I found
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I was
I
like,
found that
what?
probable
Who
cause.
wrote that line? That's awful. You wanted
But
probable
then they've just
cause.
gone, listen, guys, we've cast you as the police officers in Silent Hill. Oh, great. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
You're gonna have this scene. You're gonna have this scene where you go to the scene of the crime. Oh, yeah. What's gonna happen after that? That's it. We don't need
you
you for
just,
anything
yeah.
else.
You're not even going to be in the police car at the end, because we'll just get a stunt driver to do that. So yeah,
Exactly.
you're fine.
Not even a voiceover saying this. No, the weather forecast didn't predict fog or something like that. I don't know.
It's just not.
Something
It's
terrible.
just, yeah. So again, at the end, they've left it so that they can make another film.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
It's horrible.
So in terms of a rating for the film,
Yeah.
Jem.
How do you do ratings? Remind me.
So we do A to
Forgotten.
F. Pluses and minuses are allowed. Um, how you feeling? How you feeling
F
on this one?
minus.
F minus.
I think I have to just give it like the lowest possible rating. I just don't know. It has to have the lowest possible rating. Like, what is there here that
Yeah.
is
It's a tough
lifting it
watch.
above that?
It's a tough watch, and it's also quite boring, right?
Yeah, I think that's the like the biggest crime of it is like, how are you
Mm,
gonna use Silent Hill, which
mm,
has so much juicy source material that you could lift out, and you've just made it really boring.
mm,
And all of the actors, I feel for them, because what are you going to do with that script? And the edit is atrocious. Oh my God, the edit is atrocious.
mm.
Some
It
of the kind
it
of,
was produced for 20 million, but it made 55 million in the box office.
how
It
why?
must have just been the 3D thing, surely. Like 2012, 3D. People were probably just going to watch
Maybe,
anything that had 3D elements in it.
maybe.
So, what are you
Yeah,
saying? Are you saying
I'm
the
coming down
lowest?
on the F. I'm
You-
coming down on the F. I just
Not even
can't.
an F
While I was
minus? Or...
watching this, I was like, have I seen a worse film than this? And I honestly can't think of one. I can't
Yeah,
think of one.
I didn't pick a bad one on purpose, Jem. I promise.
I think you
Um,
did. I think you're trolling
we'll
me.
do a masterpiece soon. We'll have to cover a masterpiece. So I'm probably gonna say, I don't know, A, B, C, D minus, D minus, maybe E plus. Can I do that? That
Yeah, do an E
sounds.
plus. I mean, it's your
Uh,
system. Yeah, E
but
plus.
but if I say a plus, it makes it sound like I'm giving it more credit than it is. I think I wouldn't give it the lowest rating possible, only because it's Silent Hill, that it still looks a bit like Silent Hill. And I like the inclusion
Does
of the
it?
music, like the music that
Oh
was
yeah, the
done.
music's good. Yeah.
It's
To
the
be fair,
original. It's the game. It's Akira, I think Yakamoto or something like that. It's the original composer of the game, Yamaoka. Um, and I think that in itself establishes a bit of a vibe that some video game films just don't have at all. Like where you're just like,
Mhm.
it's supposed to be a film based on the game, don't get it. Whereas this, I think it does a good job of establishing that. But in terms of the writing, in terms of the plot, in terms of the performances, they're all unfortunately pretty low on the scale. So why not an E plus?
All right. Yeah, I forgot about the music. I'll give it an F plus. I'm still on the F though. I'll
An
give it an
F+.
F plus because the music, like, yeah, was, and some of the sound work was okay.
Yeah,
Not the
yeah,
whole way through, but like some of it
yeah.
yeah.
Disappointing though. And I mean, I
Yeah.
don't. How many other moments in it were 3D? Do we think?
I think any of the multiple kind of gory,
Yeah, like the
actiony things that were just,
CGI blood flying at the screen.
yeah, and I'm sure like Malcolm McDowell's hand reaching for her probably flew out the screen or something. The medallion probably, when it joined together and transformed, maybe that came out the
Yeah.
screen. I don't know.
Brilliant. There we
Yeah.
go then. That is Silent Hill
There we go.
Revelation.
Yeah.
Gem, obviously I'll put the links to the things we discussed in the show, but where can our listeners find
Beautiful.
you online and keep up to anything you're working on currently?
Oh yes. Socials are probably the best thing. So I'm most active on Instagram. So it's gem_Carmella, gem with a G. So yeah, I pretty much post everything on there. I am on the old X as well, formerly known as Twitter site. Not as active on there, but I will post things when I'm in stuff there. And also, one last thing I want to plug. if you are in London, I have a film festival. I'm also a film festival director,
Amazing.
and that is between the 1st and the 4th of September this year. And we almost always have like a horror slash genre strand. So I'll, yeah, keep in
Amazing.
touch.
What's that called, Jem?
Oh yeah, I should say what it's called, shouldn't I? The Shortest Nights.
Oh yeah, of
And
course.
that, yeah, the Shortest Nights Film Festival. So it's a BIFA qualifying British short film festival. And yeah, 1st to 4th of September in London. We're going to be at Rich Mix and also a venue in Sidcup called Storyteller, which is like a beautiful new indie cinema. And yeah, that's, you can find that online under the company name, which is Short Sighted Cinema. Or just search The Shortest Nights and you'll find it. And the
I'll try and
program will
put
be
that
going
in the
live
link.
in 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Amazing.
because
How
we're currently
exciting.
finishing programming at the moment. So yeah.
Super cool. Amazing. Well, thanks again for joining us, Jem. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Come back to the show sometime soon. Obviously, we can talk about maybe Alan Wake 2, maybe another horror
Yes,
game,
yes.
maybe. And if we can find a good video game adaptation for us to cover, that would be good as well.
Yeah, it'll be
Thanks
awesome.
everybody for listening. Become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. And we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Horror Hangout Podcast. Next week, we begin July, and there's lots of amazing new releases as well. So we're going to be delving into quite a lot of them. Currently, the running order and guests are yet to be confirmed. However, we will be covering A Quiet Place Day One, Long Legs, In a Violent Nature, and Maxine, as well as like maybe another film because it's 5 weeks in July. So we'll be
Great.
treating you. How
Brilliant. Sounds
exciting.
fab.
That was absolutely fab. Thanks again, Jem. It's been a pleasure. I'll
Thank
see you very soon.
you. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.